Outer planet aspects in October 2024, a surge of power and transformation. October 2024 presents a rare alignment of outer planetary forces, creating waves of transformative energy that will ripple across the globe. With significant aspects shaping the month, the trine between Jupiter in Gemini and Pluto in Capricorn stands out, a cosmic combination poised to reshape power dynamics, financial systems, and governance structures in profound ways. As the month unfolds, we witness the world at a tipping point, where long-standing institutions either adapt and evolve or risk being swept away by this powerful astrological tide. Jupiter trine Pluto, the dawn of financial breakthroughs and power shifts. As Jupiter, the planet of expansion and wisdom, moves into a harmonious trine with Pluto, the master of transformation and deep-rooted change, the cosmic stage is set for breakthroughs on a global scale. This trine, exact on October 24th, opens the door to sweeping reforms in financial structures, governance, and power dynamics. The connection between Jupiter and Gemini, symbolizing knowledge, communication, and intellectual growth, and Pluto in the final degree of Capricorn, a sign steeped in authority and tradition, signals a moment where the old world order faces a wave of renewal. The synergy between these two planets encourages the blending of wisdom and power. We will see a shift where knowledge becomes the key to empowerment, and old systems are either dismantled or reborn to meet the needs of a rapidly evolving world. This is a time for growth through transformation, where breakthroughs in finance, law, and governance will leave a lasting mark on global institutions. Global impact of Jupiter trine Pluto. United States, legal and financial revolutions. In the United States, the effects of this powerful trine will be felt most strongly in legal reforms and financial structures. Imagine the halls of Congress buzzing with debates over tax reform, corporate governance, and policies aimed at curbing wealth inequality. As Jupiter's expansive energy flows through Gemini, lawmakers may craft legislation designed to expand financial regulations, targeting corporate power and promoting transparency. Public discourse on economic inequality will be amplified, with policies focusing on long-term stability for the country's financial systems. Expect major breakthroughs in corporate law as the trine's energy fosters legal reforms that redefine the balance of power between corporations and the public. Financial institutions may undergo significant transformations, modernizing outdated systems and introducing sweeping changes that respond to growing demands for economic justice. European Union, financial and governance reforms. Across the European Union, the Jupiter-Pluto trine will spark a period of structural reform, particularly in the financial and governmental sectors. Think of the EU's largest economies, Germany, France, and Italy, taking center stage as leaders push for banking regulation overhauls, corporate tax reform, and wealth redistribution policies. These reforms will not only aim to stabilize the Union's financial landscape, but also address power imbalances within its member states. This is a time when the EU's commitment to long-term economic stability and governance transparency will shine. The Jupiter-Pluto trine fosters large-scale economic growth, as new policies are put in place to empower citizens and ensure that the financial systems are not only resilient, but also equitable. Expect bold moves that reshape the Union's financial architecture, positioning the EU as a beacon of economic transformation. China, expanding economic power and global influence. In China, the trine between Jupiter and Pluto enhances the nation's ability to strengthen its global position through strategic economic policies and financial reform. Envision China taking decisive steps in the technology and trade sectors, using the transformative energy of this aspect to solidify its role as a global economic leader. With Pluto in its final degrees of Capricorn, the country may introduce groundbreaking policies aimed at fortifying its financial systems and expanding its influence on the global stage. Expect significant developments in international trade agreements, with China leveraging its economic strength to establish new partnerships. Infrastructure investment, especially in sectors related to technology and energy, will likely surge, further empowering China's global standing. The Jupiter-Pluto trine supports these efforts, providing a pathway for the country to advance its strategic goals while reshaping the financial landscape both domestically and internationally. Organizational impact of Jupiter trine Pluto. IMF and World Bank, reshaping global financial governance. The International Monetary Fund and World Bank will be pivotal players in the global financial shifts catalyzed by the Jupiter-Pluto trine. This aspect sets the stage for significant reforms in global economic governance, particularly in areas related to debt management and financial empowerment in emerging markets. Imagine these institutions working closely with governments to support economic restructuring, prioritizing projects that build resilience and promote long-term stability. Emerging markets may receive an influx of attention, with financial policies aimed at reducing disparities and promoting sustainable growth. The Jupiter-Pluto energy fosters innovative solutions to global economic challenges, encouraging large-scale projects that address issues like infrastructure development and economic inequality. United Nations, breakthroughs in global governance. For the United Nations, the Jupiter-Pluto trine signals a time of potential breakthroughs in governance, international law, and global cooperation. As global institutions are called upon to address deep-rooted issues, this aspect supports the introduction of transformative policies aimed at reshaping international relations. Imagine sweeping reforms in international law, human rights frameworks, and global trade agreements as the UN pushes for a new era of accountability and cooperation. This is a period where the world's most powerful institutions are compelled to face their limitations and evolve. The energy of Jupiter and Pluto ensures that these transformations are not just theoretical, but grounded in the reality of creating long-term global stability. With international security, climate policies, and human rights at the forefront, the UN's role in shaping the future of global governance becomes increasingly crucial. Jupiter sextile Neptune, a surge of spiritual awakening and compassionate reform. As October unfolds, an extraordinary celestial dance takes center stage. Jupiter in Gemini forms a harmonious sextile with Neptune in Pisces, exact around October 27. This powerful alignment weaves together the expansive, optimistic energy of Jupiter with Neptune's dreamy, spiritual essence, opening a gateway to visionary growth, spiritual enlightenment, and creative blossoming. The world stands poised on the brink of transformation, where ideals meet reality, and the collective imagination is stirred to create lasting change in healthcare, media, and charitable endeavors. A cosmic union, the spirit of compassion and growth. Jupiter's intellectual curiosity in Gemini merges with Neptune's ethereal compassion in Pisces, creating a profound opportunity for growth in areas where spiritual values and idealism are paramount. This is a time when humanity's higher aspirations are called to the forefront, where faith in a better future can guide real-world reforms. The soft, supportive energy of this sextile encourages the expansion of healthcare services, media content that elevates consciousness, and social movements rooted in empathy and unity. Picture a world where nations, institutions, and individuals embrace a more compassionate, visionary approach. Artistic creativity flourishes, social welfare programs take on new life, and the media begins to reflect deeper spiritual values. The influence of this aspect reaches beyond borders, affecting healthcare systems, humanitarian organizations, and cultural movements globally. Global impact of Jupiter sextile Neptune. United States, healthcare reform and media's new vision. In the United States, this celestial alignment could usher in significant reforms in healthcare, particularly in mental health and holistic care. Imagine a healthcare system that not only treats the body, but also nurtures the soul, offering patients mental and emotional support alongside physical treatment. Jupiter's expansive energy encourages growth, while Neptune's compassionate nature ensures that reforms are driven by empathy and care for the vulnerable. Expect discussions around holistic healing, mental health services, and even spiritual well-being to take center stage. Simultaneously, the media may embrace this wave of idealism, producing content that uplifts and inspires. Themes of spirituality, compassion, and social consciousness could become more prevalent in films, television, and journalism. A cultural shift toward storytelling that reflects humanity's higher ideals may take root, with artists and creators tapping into Neptune's dreamlike, visionary qualities to inspire change. Europe, cultural renaissance and compassionate healthcare. Across Europe, in countries rich with artistic heritage such as France, Italy, and Spain, the Jupiter-Neptune sextile may spark a cultural renaissance. Picture a vibrant surge of artistic expression as governments channel resources into supporting the arts, recognizing the power of creativity to shape national identity and promote social cohesion. Cultural movements that champion the values of compassion, unity, and beauty could flourish, leaving a lasting mark on Europe's artistic and creative landscape. Healthcare in Europe, already renowned for its focus on the collective good, may evolve to embrace more holistic and compassionate approaches. Mental health, long overlooked in many healthcare systems, could become a priority. Imagine expanded programs that integrate emotional and spiritual care into traditional medical practices, fostering a more complete, compassionate healthcare experience for all. India, a spiritual awakening and humanitarian surge. In India, a land where spirituality is woven into the fabric of daily life, the Jupiter-Neptune sextile may herald a period of deep spiritual awakening. Picture a renewed focus on charitable initiatives, with spiritual leaders inspiring the public to unite for humanitarian causes. Movements aimed at alleviating poverty, improving healthcare access, and promoting education could gain momentum, fueled by a collective desire to manifest Neptune's ideals of compassion and selfless service. India's spiritual leaders may also rise to prominence during this time, spreading messages of unity, compassion, and the importance of nurturing the soul. These leaders could inspire global humanitarian efforts, extending India's influence as a spiritual beacon in a world grappling with social and economic challenges. Organizational impact, global compassion and humanitarian outreach. World Health Organization (WHO), compassionate healthcare for all. The WHO stands at the crossroads of global healthcare reform, and the Jupiter-Neptune sextile offers a unique opportunity for compassionate expansion. Imagine the organization spearheading global initiatives that prioritize not just physical health, but also mental and spiritual well-being. Public health campaigns could focus on promoting holistic care, emphasizing the importance of mental health, emotional support, and spiritual healing. Governments may collaborate with the WHO on visionary policies that redefine the scope of healthcare, making it more inclusive and humane. This aspect also encourages long-term initiatives that aim to bridge healthcare gaps in vulnerable populations, offering a beacon of hope for those in need. Global humanitarian organizations, a visionary approach to crisis relief. Humanitarian organizations like the Red Cross and UNICEF are likely to experience a surge of public support under the influence of this idealistic sextile. The world may awaken to the urgency of addressing humanitarian crises with compassion and vision. Imagine new initiatives designed to provide not only immediate relief, but also sustainable, transformative solutions for long-term challenges like poverty, healthcare disparities, and disaster recovery. These organizations may launch groundbreaking programs aimed at expanding their reach, driven by a newfound sense of purpose to uplift and protect the most vulnerable. The Jupiter-Neptune sextile provides the fuel needed to inspire these compassionate actions, creating a world more aligned with humanitarian ideals and collective well-being. Saturn in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus, a cosmic dance of innovation and reform. As October 2024 draws to a close, an extraordinary celestial alignment occurs. Saturn in Pisces forms a harmonious sextile with Uranus in Taurus. The air is thick with the promise of change, a tantalizing balance between tradition and innovation. Saturn, the keeper of structure, discipline, and long-established systems, meets Uranus, the fiery herald of progress, disruption, and breakthrough. Their sextile aspect signifies a rare moment when these opposing forces come together in harmony, signaling profound yet grounded reform across the globe. The ancient weight of Saturn in Pisces rests upon intangible spiritual matters, whispering of mental health, compassionate governance, and the need to restructure the unseen. Meanwhile, Uranus, rooted in Taurus, is firmly fixed in the material world, pushing for advancements in agriculture, finance, and energy systems. Together, they create an opportunity for calculated, thoughtful innovation, where old systems evolve rather than collapse, and new technologies grow from the bedrock of tradition. A global awakening, innovation meets structure. The influence of Saturn sextile Uranus extends across continents, weaving through governments, institutions, and industries, offering the world a chance to blend the best of both worlds. Modernization without reckless disruption, reform without chaos. This cosmic alignment lays the groundwork for advancements in infrastructure, agriculture, and economic policies that not only meet the needs of today, but promise long-term sustainability for future generations. The synergy between these planetary giants suggests that this is not a time for radical upheaval, but for thoughtful, measured change. It is a period where innovation is guided by responsibility, and the foundations of the old world are strengthened by the brilliance of the new. Global impact of Saturn sextile Uranus. United States, a new era of infrastructure and economic reform. In the United States, the influence of Saturn's sextile Uranus is likely to manifest as a wave of infrastructure modernization and economic reform. Imagine the quiet hum of machinery in cities and towns as roads, bridges, and public transportation systems are upgraded, powered by new green technologies. Saturn's call for restructuring echoes through government halls, aligning with Uranus's push for innovation in material resources, particularly in the renewable energy sector. From wind farms sprawling across the Midwest to solar panels dotting city rooftops, the U.S. is poised to embrace a future where sustainability and economic growth walk hand in hand. Yet, this is not the chaotic tearing down of the past, but a thoughtful weaving of the new into the old. Economic systems may see reforms, particularly in areas that blend traditional banking with digital currencies or sustainable investment strategies. The future feels within reach, guided by the steady hand of Saturn and the forward momentum of Uranus. European Union, the future of agriculture and resource management. Across the European Union, this celestial alignment sets the stage for groundbreaking agricultural reforms and innovative approaches to resource management. In countries like Germany, France, and the Netherlands, nations that have long held a reverence for the land, the marriage of Saturn's discipline and Uranus's inventive spirit encourages a rethinking of how food is grown and resources are used. Picture the vast fields of Europe embracing a new future where technology and tradition come together. Drones hover over crops, assessing soil health, while sustainable farming practices take root in the land, reducing environmental impact and increasing yields. This aspect may also drive policy changes, where regulatory frameworks evolve to support these new methods, ensuring that Europe remains at the forefront of responsible resource management. Latin America, a revolution in agriculture and infrastructure. In the vibrant heart of Latin America, countries like Brazil and Argentina stand on the precipice of transformation. Saturn sextile Uranus offers these nations an opportunity to modernize agriculture and overhaul infrastructure. Brazil's sprawling farmlands and Argentina's rich agricultural heritage could see the integration of cutting-edge technologies aimed at efficiency and sustainability. Imagine a new era of farming, where resilient systems capable of withstanding environmental challenges emerge. Farmers may adopt innovative methods that align with long-term goals of resource preservation, ensuring that the land continues to provide for generations to come. Infrastructure reforms may also take hold, driven by a need to balance economic stability with progressive, sustainable practices. Roads, ports, and energy grids may undergo upgrades, blending Saturn's respect for tradition with Uranus's demand for innovation. Organizational impact, leading the charge for global reform. International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank, a new economic order. The IMF and World Bank, as guardians of global financial stability, are perfectly poised to play a central role in the reforms driven by Saturn sextile Uranus. Picture meetings in high-rise offices where world leaders, economists, and innovators come together to chart a course for the future. These institutions may spearhead initiatives that blend traditional financial models with forward-thinking economic policies, especially in developing nations. Countries seeking to modernize their infrastructure or adopt sustainable agricultural practices may find the financial support they need. The focus will be on long-term stability, ensuring that economic reforms are not only innovative, but also grounded in reality, offering a blend of tradition and progress. World Trade Organization (WTO) pioneering sustainable trade. The WTO, too, finds itself at a critical juncture under the influence of Saturn sextile Uranus. As nations navigate the complexities of modern trade, the WTO may drive efforts to establish international frameworks that support sustainable agricultural practices and technological innovation in resource management. Picture nations coming together to negotiate new trade agreements that prioritize environmental responsibility. The WTO may facilitate collaborations between countries, ensuring that progress is made without sacrificing the integrity of long-established systems. This period encourages international cooperation, where tradition and modernity coexist, fostering a future where the global economy thrives in harmony with the planet. Saturn trine the Moon's North Node, karmic destiny meets practical progress. In the celestial dance of October 2024, a profound alignment unfolds. Saturn in Pisces forms a trine with the Moon's North Node in Taurus. This is no ordinary aspect. It hums with the energy of destiny and responsibility. Saturn, the great architect of discipline and structure, harmonizes with the North Node, the symbolic compass guiding humanity toward its collective future. Together, they beckon us to lay the foundation for a more sustainable, stable world, one where karmic lessons are realized through the steady work of progress. As this trine peaks mid-month, the invisible threads of time seem to weave more purposefully. There's a sense that the actions we take now, whether in governance, finance, or environmental policy, will ripple through generations to come. This is a moment where the weight of our choices is felt, and where the path forward, though steep, is illuminated by the steady light of responsibility and foresight. A karmic turning point, global progress rooted in practicality. The Saturn North Node trine creates a powerful undercurrent of stability and long-term vision. It is as if the universe is giving us a green light to take what we've learned and build something lasting. Saturn in Pisces brings a focus on compassionate governance, mental health, and subtle reforms, while the North Node in Taurus is deeply grounded in tangible concerns, finance, agriculture, and resource management. Together, they create an opportunity for sustainable progress, for policies and reforms that will stand the test of time. But make no mistake, this isn't about quick fixes or fleeting gains. Saturn demands that every step we take is measured, disciplined, and aligned with a greater purpose. The North Node reminds us that these actions are not just for the present, but for the collective future we are shaping. It's about laying a foundation that will ensure resilience, both for the Earth and its people, for decades to come. Global impact of Saturn trine the Moon's North Node. United States, financial stability and environmental responsibility. In the United States, this powerful alignment between Saturn and the North Node offers a unique moment of clarity and purpose. Imagine the corridors of power in Washington buzzing with discussions about balancing the nation's long-term economic health with the urgent need for environmental reform. This aspect supports the development of policies that are not only financially sound, but also ecologically responsible. It could signal a shift toward sustainable energy practices as the government focuses on reducing national debt while promoting green technologies. Picture new reforms that integrate fiscal responsibility with environmental goals, ensuring that the growth of the U.S. economy aligns with the preservation of natural resources. From the plains of the Midwest to the shores of California, there's an opportunity for the country to lead by example, creating a model of financial and environmental stability that others might follow. European Union, agricultural innovation and ecological resilience. In Europe, particularly in nations like Germany, France, and Spain, this alignment resonates deeply with the EU's ongoing commitment to environmental sustainability and agricultural innovation. The old-world charm of European farmlands meets cutting-edge sustainable farming techniques, blending tradition with modernity. Picture fields that not only yield crops, but are carefully managed to ensure soil health for generations to come. Saturn's disciplined energy helps governments implement policies that support sustainable agriculture, soil conservation, water management, and the reduction of chemical use. These reforms will help the EU meet its environmental targets while ensuring that agricultural systems remain resilient in the face of climate change. China, economic growth meets resource management. In China, the Saturn North Node trine could manifest as a deep focus on securing long-term economic stability while addressing resource management concerns. China, with its vast population and rapid industrial growth, has long straddled the line between economic expansion and environmental responsibility. This aspect may push the country to further align its economic goals with sustainable practices, particularly in agriculture and energy. Imagine sweeping reforms aimed at securing China's future prosperity, financial systems recalibrated for long-term stability, and resource management policies designed to prevent environmental degradation. As the world's second-largest economy, China's decisions during this period will not only affect its domestic landscape, but will also ripple across global markets, signaling a shift toward more responsible growth. Organizational impact, global institutions step up. United Nations, UN, leading the charge for global sustainability. At the global level, the United Nations could take full advantage of the stabilizing influence of Saturn trine the North Node. The world's attention may turn to the UN's environmental initiatives, as this aspect encourages the implementation of long-term climate and resource management policies. From the halls of the UN headquarters in New York to summits on sustainable development across the globe, expect a renewed focus on ensuring that humanity's footprint on the Earth is one of stewardship rather than exploitation. This could be a turning point for international agreements on climate change, agriculture, and environmental sustainability, with the UN leading efforts to align nations toward a common goal. The karmic weight of Saturn demands accountability, while the North Node ensures that these initiatives are forward-thinking, destined to shape the future of the planet. World Economic Forum, EF, a vision for sustainable growth. The World Economic Forum, with its pulse on global economic trends, may harness this harmonious aspect to advocate for long-term financial strategies that integrate sustainability at their core. The WEF could host discussions and initiatives that focus on balancing economic growth with environmental responsibility, ensuring that the global economy moves forward without sacrificing the planet's health. Picture world leaders and CEOs sitting around conference tables in Davos, not just discussing profitability, but also focusing on how to ensure that industries and corporations play a role in the planet's future. This aspect supports conversations about how to marry growth with ecological stewardship, ensuring that progress is sustainable and profits do not come at the cost of environmental degradation. Uranus retrograde in Taurus trines Pluto, a quiet revolution in October 2024. As the world turns toward October 2024, the cosmic forces of change gather in the heavens. Uranus, the planet of innovation, rebellion, and sudden disruption, moves retrograde through the steadfast sign of Taurus. Meanwhile, Pluto, the ruler of deep transformation, sits in the critical final degrees of Capricorn. Together, these two celestial titans form a subtle but powerful trine, a harmonious alignment that whispers of revolution in the fabric of global systems, waiting to be unleashed. This trine, though not exact, tightens its grip as the days of October unfold, quietly weaving a story of profound transformation. Uranus and Pluto, two of the slowest moving planets, carry the weight of history on their shoulders, and when their energies align, entire societies feel the ripple. This is a time when old institutions are dismantled, economic systems reformed, and power structures shaken to their core. A trine of tremors, the dance between innovation and transformation. Uranus retrograde in Taurus, a sign known for its relationship with material resources, finance, and the earth itself, is a force that disrupts the status quo. Here, innovation brews beneath the surface. But as Uranus retraces its steps, its usual forward momentum pauses, creating space for reflection, a necessary prelude to change. Taurus, with its deep roots in stability and tradition, now faces the challenge of being uprooted, as Uranus prompts a reconsideration of how we value the very foundations of our world: agriculture, finance, and sustainability. Pluto, in the late degrees of Capricorn, is the harbinger of endings. In Capricorn, Pluto's work has been methodical, stripping away outdated structures in governance, corporate power, and authority. At 29 degrees, Pluto is completing its final task in Capricorn, a critical moment of culmination. When these two cosmic forces, one focused on the future, the other on dismantling the past, come into harmony, it signals the dawn of a new era. Uranus trine Pluto, a global tectonic shift, revolutionizing global systems. The trine between Uranus and Pluto doesn't scream its power, but it is quietly undeniable. The energies of these two transformative planets are working together like an underground current, shaping the future without fanfare, but with inevitable force. Uranus in Taurus, focused on financial systems, environmental sustainability, and agriculture, joins hands with Pluto in Capricorn, the master of governance and authority. Together, they encourage breakthroughs in these critical areas, breaking down the old to make way for innovation. This alignment is the cosmic permission slip needed for reforms that have long been overdue. Outdated economic policies will come under scrutiny, and with Uranus's influence, the world will see technological advancements that force a re-evaluation of how resources are managed. Environmental sustainability, once sidelined in favor of economic growth, will find new champions as the world grapples with how to balance progress with preservation. A time for financial rebirth. In this trine, financial systems become the battleground for change. Uranus's disruptive energy doesn't simply destabilize, it creates space for new models to emerge. Whether it's the rise of digital currencies, innovative banking systems, or a complete overhaul of how nations manage debt, this is a time for financial rebirth. Old economic frameworks that no longer serve the needs of the global population will be replaced by forward-thinking solutions that reflect the realities of a 21st century world. Pluto's final degrees in Capricorn suggest that the financial world's most powerful players, governments, corporations, and global financial institutions, will face the last stages of a reckoning. Power imbalances that have gone unchecked will be exposed, leading to a demand for more equitable and transparent systems. This trine doesn't just hint at reform, it promises it, even if the changes occur quietly at first. Global impact of Uranus trine Pluto, a revolution in governance and power. United States economic overhaul and power dynamics. In the United States, the trine between Uranus and Pluto could spark an economic overhaul. With Pluto working its final transformative magic in Capricorn, the nation's political and corporate structures will face deep scrutiny. The financial sector, long criticized for its inequalities and imbalances, may undergo significant reforms. As Uranus retrograde in Taurus pushes for innovation, new economic policies could emerge, policies that prioritize sustainability, technological advancement, and long-term resilience. This trine suggests a shift in power dynamics, where corporate influence over politics may be reined in and financial regulations strengthened. The energy of transformation will also extend to how resources are managed, with environmental sustainability becoming a more pressing issue. As the U.S. grapples with its economic future, it may turn to forward-thinking policies that address both the needs of the present and the demands of a rapidly changing world. European Union, breakthroughs in sustainable finance and governance. In Europe, particularly within the European Union, the trine between Uranus and Pluto signals a period of breakthroughs in governance and financial reform. Nations like Germany and France, already at the forefront of sustainability initiatives, may take bold steps to integrate green technologies into their economies. Uranus retrograde in Taurus emphasizes the need to rethink agriculture and resource management, while Pluto in Capricorn encourages governments to address the power structures that have kept progress at bay. This aspect fosters collaboration between nations, as the EU pushes for policies that blend tradition with innovation. Expect to see reforms in banking regulation, agricultural sustainability, and corporate governance. The pressure to modernize will be undeniable, but the solutions offered will be grounded in practicality and long-term vision. China, economic resilience and technological advancement. In China, the trine between Uranus and Pluto could manifest as a period of economic resilience and technological breakthroughs. China, a nation already deeply invested in technological innovation, may introduce new policies that further integrate cutting-edge technologies into its economy. This aspect supports China's goals of becoming a global leader in sustainable development and resource management. With Pluto's transformative energy focused on governance, China may also reevaluate its political and corporate structures, pushing for greater transparency and accountability. This is a time for China to solidify its global influence through innovative reforms that address both economic growth and environmental responsibility. Organizational impact. Global institutions at the forefront of change. International Monetary Fund (IMF) and World Bank facilitating economic reforms. The IMF and World Bank are likely to play pivotal roles during this transformative period. The Uranus-Pluto trine will encourage these institutions to facilitate economic reforms that address global financial instability and promote sustainability. Expect initiatives focused on debt relief, infrastructure development, and the transition to greener economies. This aspect promotes a forward-thinking approach to global finance, where traditional economic models give way to more innovative, sustainable solutions. United Nations, redefining global cooperation. The United Nations will also be influenced by this powerful trine, particularly in its efforts to address global governance and environmental sustainability. As Uranus and Pluto push for transformation, the UN may spearhead initiatives that promote international cooperation on climate change, resource management, and technological innovation. This aspect encourages the development of global policies that reflect the need for both immediate action and long-term planning. Uranus trine Pluto, a global transformation of finance, technology, and power. October 2024 brings with it an invisible yet undeniable force, a cosmic alignment that quietly sets the stage for profound changes across the world. The trine between Uranus, the planet of disruption and innovation, and Pluto, the master of transformation and deep power shifts, weaves a potent energy through the fabric of global governance, financial systems, and technological breakthroughs. While subtle, this alignment promises to reshape the way nations wield power, manage resources, and navigate the future. As Uranus retrogrades in the steady sign of Taurus, the focus turns to material wealth, sustainability, and the foundations of economic systems. Meanwhile, Pluto, sitting at the critical late degrees of Capricorn, exerts its final push to overhaul corporate power and governance. Together, these planets whisper of revolutions not fought in the streets, but written in the codes of new financial technologies, the policies of green energy, and the quiet reforms that shift the balance of power. United States, financial systems undergo radical reforms amid technological breakthroughs. In the heart of the United States, the influence of this Uranus-Pluto trine will reverberate through the nation's financial and technological sectors. The steady ground of Taurus, usually associated with material stability, finds itself rattled by Uranus's insistence on change. Cryptocurrencies, once a fringe interest, could become mainstream as banking regulations and financial systems transform to meet the demands of a digital economy. Expect the government to face mounting pressure to regulate and embrace emerging technologies like blockchain and artificial intelligence (AI), reshaping the future of finance. Pluto's presence in Capricorn reminds us that these reforms will not come without a restructuring of power. Corporate governance may find itself under the microscope, with calls for transparency and accountability growing louder. The age of unchecked corporate influence could be drawing to a close, replaced by innovative policies designed to modernize resource management and recalibrate how wealth is distributed across the country. The United States, long a global financial leader, may well find itself pioneering the path toward a future where technology and finance are intricately intertwined, a new digital frontier. European Union, governance reshaped and economies modernized to embrace green innovation. Across the Atlantic, in the European Union, the influence of the Uranus-Pluto trine sets the stage for a grand restructuring. Countries like Germany, France, and Italy, each with their deep-rooted financial systems, are about to embark on a path of modernization. The transformative power of Pluto in Capricorn will work in tandem with Uranus's progressive energy in Taurus, urging these nations to overhaul their economic and corporate regulations to keep pace with global technological shifts. The tension between tradition and innovation will give way to groundbreaking reforms in banking and financial markets. Environmental sustainability will no longer be a distant ideal, but an urgent priority. The EU's push toward green technologies, renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and eco-friendly industries will align with Uranus's drive for progress in Taurus, a sign deeply connected to the Earth. What emerges is a European Union more prepared to face the challenges of climate change, more resilient in its economic strategies, and ready to lead the world in merging economic growth with environmental responsibility. This is not just a reshuffling of policies, but a complete reinvention of how governance and economies function in the modern age. China, technological dominance and strategic global power repositioning. In China, the tremors of this Uranus-Pluto trine will likely spark a series of technological and geopolitical shifts that ripple across the globe. As the nation accelerates its efforts to dominate cutting-edge sectors like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and digital currencies, it will position itself as a leader in the tech-driven economy of the future. Uranus retrograde in Taurus will prompt internal reflections on how to ensure long-term sustainability in agriculture and resource management, while Pluto's powerful influence in Capricorn will drive the restructuring of China's governmental and corporate power structures. As China reforms its internal systems, it will simultaneously recalibrate its global strategies. Expect the nation to leverage its technological advancements to expand its influence on the world stage, particularly in its relationships with other major economies. With each breakthrough, China will further solidify its position as a global powerhouse, its government walking the fine line between tradition and technological innovation. As the world watches, China's calculated steps toward modernizing its economy and governance will likely reshape its role in international politics for years to come. The global organizational impact, power players in the age of transformation. International Monetary Fund and World Bank, catalysts for global economic innovation by facilitating global reforms in finance and infrastructure. The global financial institutions, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank will not be untouched by this sweeping wave of transformation. Under the influence of the Uranus-Pluto trine, these organizations will be called upon to foster economic reforms that address financial instability while promoting sustainability. Expect both institutions to push for infrastructure investments in developing nations, focusing on bridging the gap between traditional financial systems and cutting-edge innovations in digital currencies and green energy. Their role as global financial facilitators will expand, helping nations transition toward more resilient economic models that align with the rapid technological advancements of the modern era. The delicate balance between preserving established systems and introducing revolutionary changes will define their policies in the months and years ahead. United Nations, a new framework for global governance and sustainability by shaping global cooperation through technological and environmental reforms. The United Nations, UN, will also find itself swept up in the transformative energy of this trine. As global governance faces new challenges, from climate change to technological disruption, the UN will likely emerge as a key player in facilitating international cooperation on these issues. Uranus in Taurus will emphasize the importance of resource sustainability, urging the UN to push for policies that address environmental concerns head-on, while Pluto's influence will drive reforms in how international laws and agreements are structured. This is a time when global cooperation will not only be necessary, but inevitable. The UN, standing at the crossroads of these tectonic shifts, will help nations find common ground in their pursuit of technological advancement and environmental sustainability, ensuring that progress is not just made, but made together. The Uranus-Pluto trine, a revolution in global finance, governance, and technology. As October 2024 unfolds, the world finds itself on the brink of unprecedented transformation. Uranus in Taurus, the harbinger of innovation and disruption, aligns in a powerful trine with Pluto in Capricorn, the master of deep structural change. Together, these celestial giants whisper of revolutions in finance, governance, and technology. Revolutions that, though quiet at first, will ripple across the globe, reshaping how economies function, how power is distributed, and how societies adapt to the challenges of the future. This harmonious trine offers the rare opportunity for constructive upheaval. While Uranus seeks to shake loose the old ways of managing material resources, Pluto demands that these changes be woven into the very fabric of our global institutions. The world stands at the precipice of radical breakthroughs that promise to disrupt outdated systems and replace them with innovative, sustainable, and equitable solutions. International Monetary Fund and World Bank, financial reforms for a new era, by pioneering economic stabilization and technological integration in developing nations. At the heart of this planetary alignment, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank are poised to play pivotal roles. These institutions, traditionally seen as the guardians of global economic stability, are now embracing the winds of change ushered in by Uranus and Pluto. The trine encourages financial innovation, pushing the IMF and World Bank to explore new strategies that address the economic disparities that have long plagued developing nations. Expect these institutions to push for financial reforms that modernize outdated systems, focusing particularly on the integration of emerging technologies. Blockchain and digital finance will likely be central to their efforts, offering developing nations the tools they need to stabilize their economies in a rapidly evolving global market. As part of this shift, debt restructuring may become a critical focus, with green energy investments gaining momentum as nations look to bolster their economies through sustainable practices. World Economic Forum, charting the future of technology and governance with leading global conversations on AI, blockchain, and sustainable development. The World Economic Forum, WEF, will find itself at the forefront of global discussions about the future. The Uranus-Pluto trine aligns perfectly with the WEF's mission to promote sustainable development and global cooperation. This period will see the WEF driving conversations about how emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, AI, and blockchain are reshaping global finance and governance. As technology reshapes industries at breakneck speed, The WEF will champion the importance of global governance reforms that integrate these innovations responsibly. Expect discussions on how AI can revolutionize industries while ensuring ethical usage, as well as how blockchain technology could be the key to decentralizing global financial systems. The WEF will advocate for reforms that balance technological innovation with environmental responsibility, urging global leaders to adopt policies that ensure long-term sustainability. Economic and financial breakthroughs, the dawn of a new financial landscape with cryptocurrency, green energy, and the transformation of global wealth. The trine between Uranus and Pluto signals a revolution in the way wealth and resources are managed. Traditional approaches to banking, finance, and resource management are being upended, with disruptive innovations such as cryptocurrency and blockchain technology taking center stage. As Uranus pushes for decentralization, countries around the world will face pressure to adopt new regulations that reflect the growing dominance of digital currencies. Pluto's transformative power ensures that these changes won't be superficial. They will be deeply integrated into the global financial structure. Expect fintech innovations to reshape how investments, banking, and trading are conducted, particularly in markets that have been slow to modernize. Meanwhile, green energy and environmental finance will emerge as key drivers of economic growth. Governments in regions like the European Union and the United States will lead the charge, investing heavily in renewable energy projects, carbon trading, and sustainable finance models. Global cooperation on environmental issues will grow stronger as the trine fosters a shared commitment to addressing the world's most pressing challenges. Technological innovations, AI and automation revolutionize global governance and industry. Uranus's influence in Taurus will be particularly strong in the realm of technological innovation, especially as it relates to material resources, agriculture, and finance. This alignment with Pluto suggests that technology will play a central role in reshaping not just industries, but governance itself. Artificial intelligence and automation are at the forefront of this technological revolution. Countries like China, the United States, and Germany will be global leaders in AI development, using these technologies to streamline governance, enhance productivity, and transform industries, ranging from manufacturing to finance. As these technologies become more integrated into global systems, the trine will encourage governments to adopt progressive policies that ensure technological advancements benefit society as a whole. Restructuring governments for a technological future. Governments around the world will not be immune to the transformative energy of this trine. Pluto's presence in Capricorn signals the need for deep governmental reforms, particularly in how nations manage power dynamics and public responsibility. Corruption, inefficiency, and outdated legal frameworks will come under scrutiny as countries restructure their governance systems to meet the demands of a rapidly changing global landscape. Uranus's progressive energy in Taurus pushes for innovative approaches to public administration, particularly in how resources are managed and distributed. Expect nations to introduce policies that reflect a more equitable, forward-thinking approach to governance. In this new era, governments will be called upon to blend technological innovation with long-term stability, ensuring that the changes made today lay the foundation for a prosperous and sustainable future. Neptune sextile Pluto, the silent revolution of spiritual and environmental transformation. A deep and almost mystical current flows beneath the surface of October 2024, a quiet but undeniable force heralded by the sextile between Neptune in Pisces and Pluto in Capricorn. It is a cosmic alignment that signals something far more profound than what meets the eye, blending the spiritual with the material, the idealistic with the practical. The energies of Neptune, the planet of dreams, spirituality, and compassion, weave effortlessly with the transformative power of Pluto, a force of destruction and rebirth tied to deep structural change. This harmonious aspect quietly invites societies to reshape their world, merging lofty ideals with tangible action. Neptune's presence in Pisces, a placement of heightened compassion and collective consciousness, offers the vision, while Pluto in Capricorn, the stern taskmaster of power and authority, brings the weight of systemic reform. Together, they open the door to sweeping changes that touch upon the very soul of nations. From the transformation of spiritual institutions to the elevation of environmental policies, the Neptune-Pluto sextile works like the tide, steady, relentless, yet unhurried, pushing humanity towards a new balance where ideals meet reality. United States, spirituality meets action as U.S. institutions and policies transform. In the United States, this Neptune-Pluto sextile manifests as a reshaping of both spiritual institutions and environmental policies, blending idealism with action. The call to harmonize spiritual values with practical concerns will be impossible to ignore. Religious organizations, long bastions of tradition, may find themselves at a crossroads, transforming to meet the needs of a new generation that seeks spirituality intertwined with social and environmental responsibility. Environmental movements, too, will gain strength, fueled by a sense of urgency and compassion. Policies addressing climate change, renewable energy, and environmental justice will become focal points of public discourse. With Neptune's visionary energy guiding these efforts, the changes will be infused with a desire for compassionate, long-term solutions. Solutions not just for today, but for generations to come. European Union's visionary path to balancing growth with environmental and social reforms. Across the European Union, particularly in progressive nations like Germany, France, and Sweden, the Neptune-Pluto sextile will spark a wave of humanitarianism and environmental reform. The blend of Neptune's spiritual idealism with Pluto's transformative energy will challenge European leaders to create policies that don't just aim for economic growth, but strive for something deeper: compassionate governance and responsible stewardship of the planet. Governments may adopt policies that align with spiritual values of justice, equality, and sustainability. Nonprofit organizations and spiritual leaders will find themselves at the forefront of shaping public discourse as they advocate for environmental preservation and social welfare. The EU will be driven by the need to balance economic expansion with environmental responsibility, echoing the Neptune-Pluto mantra of blending ideals with grounded, practical reform. India's rich spiritual heritage evolves with a new focus on environmental and humanitarian reforms. In India, the Neptune-Pluto sextile resonates with the country's deep spiritual roots, igniting a transformative process that will see spiritual institutions evolve and collective values shift towards a more environmentally conscious and humanitarian focus. India, a land where spirituality has always played a central role, will find its religious institutions transforming in response to modern challenges, leaders and organizations embracing environmentalism and compassion as central tenets of their mission. The nation may see new initiatives centered around climate change, sustainability, and humanitarianism, all influenced by Neptune's idealistic energy and Pluto's call for systemic change. Spiritual leaders in India could become key voices in promoting environmental awareness, echoing a global call for action that merges the spiritual with the practical, the idealistic with the necessary. A global shift, blending ideals with action for lasting change. Neptune and Pluto's harmonious dance fosters a new era of spiritual and environmental reforms. As the Neptune-Pluto sextile stretches its influence across the globe, its effects will be felt in every corner of society. In this time, spiritual institutions will modernize, adapting to the new demands of a world facing environmental and social crises. Nations will integrate ideals of compassion, sustainability, and justice into their policies, pushing for reforms that reflect a new collective consciousness, one that understands that true power comes not from control or domination, but from empathy, responsibility, and visionary action. This planetary alignment invites us to envision a future where the spiritual and the practical are not at odds, but work together. It calls for reforms in governance, environmental policies, and social systems that are both compassionate and effective, creating lasting change for a world on the cusp of transformation. Neptune sextile Pluto, the subtle shift toward global compassion and environmental revolution, In the quiet yet potent alignment between Neptune in Pisces and Pluto in Capricorn, a rare opportunity emerges. A chance for the world to harmonize its highest ideals with the most pressing practical concerns. The sextile between these two distant planets, active throughout October 2024, whispers of profound, lasting change that is felt more than seen. This is not a time of dramatic upheaval, but rather a subtle yet transformative wave, one that encourages nations, organizations, and institutions to align spiritual compassion with deep structural reform. Neptune, the planet of dreams, spirituality, and humanitarianism, casts its ethereal influence from its home in Pisces, while Pluto, the lord of transformation, grinds away at entrenched power structures from Capricorn. Together, their energies blend to forge a path where spiritual ideals can reshape the very foundation of global institutions. From environmental policies to healthcare reforms, this aspect calls for action that is both compassionate and enduring, transforming society's values and practices from the inside out. United Nations leads a global call to unite spiritual ideals with environmental responsibility. As the Neptune-Pluto sextile flows through the cosmos, the United Nations finds itself at a pivotal moment. The UN, an institution that has long been a beacon for international cooperation, may seize this opportunity to promote policies that merge spiritual values with the urgency of environmental preservation. This aspect inspires the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, to take bold steps in advocating for sustainability initiatives that address the critical challenges of climate change and environmental degradation. Drawing from Neptune's deep reservoir of compassion and Pluto's transformative power, the UN may foster a renewed spirit of global cooperation. It's a time when spiritual idealism finds a home in practical solutions, encouraging nations to adopt policies that not only protect the planet, but honor the interconnectedness of all life. The whispers of this cosmic alignment may soon echo through the halls of the UN, as world leaders gather to address the most pressing environmental crises of our time with a newfound sense of purpose. World Health Organization champions holistic healthcare in a world awakening to the importance of mental and spiritual well-being. Under the influence of Neptune's sextile Pluto, the World Health Organization may turn its attention to promoting healthcare reforms that emphasize compassion, mental health, and holistic well-being. In conflict zones, refugee camps, and underprivileged nations, this aspect supports a spiritual approach to healing, one that not only addresses physical health, but the emotional and mental toll of displacement, poverty, and conflict. This harmonious alignment offers a moment of clarity for the WHO, as Neptune's compassion softens the harsh edges of global healthcare challenges. Pluto's transformative energy provides the power to make systemic changes that last. In practical terms, this may manifest as increased global cooperation in delivering humanitarian aid, especially in areas that have long been neglected. From mental health support to the integration of spiritual well-being into healthcare systems, the WHO may use this time to lay the groundwork for a future where healthcare is seen not just as a necessity, but as a compassionate right for all. Neptune and Pluto's cosmic dance inspires a new era of holistic change across the globe. As the energies of Neptune and Pluto intertwine, they inspire organizations like the UN and WHO to lead with compassion while pushing for lasting structural reforms. This planetary sextile is not a force of sudden upheaval, but of quiet, profound change, a current that will sweep through the global consciousness, urging leaders and institutions to think long-term, to act with empathy, and to transform the way humanity engages with the planet and its people. The influence of Neptune and Pluto during this time may not be immediately visible, but its effects will be far-reaching. Environmental policies that prioritize sustainability, healthcare systems that embrace holistic healing, and international cooperation driven by shared spiritual values. These are the fruits of this alignment, laying the foundation for a future built on compassion, responsibility, and deep-rooted transformation. Pluto square the Moon's north node, the struggle for power, destiny, and sustainability. As the cosmos intensifies in October 2024, Pluto, perched at 29 degrees in Capricorn, locks horns with the moon's north node in Taurus at 23 degrees. This celestial square, a clash of immense forces, signals the kind of tension that shakes the foundations of global power structures. Pluto, the planet of deep transformation and destruction, confronts the North Node, the marker of collective destiny and karmic growth, in a confrontation that feels both fated and fierce. This isn't just an ordinary conflict, it's a cosmic reckoning, one that demands societies face their past while struggling to birth a new future. At its core, this square represents a battle between entrenched systems of power and the collective's need for growth, security, and sustainability. Pluto in Capricorn seeks to dismantle outdated authority, challenging the status quo of corporations, governments, and financial empires. Meanwhile, the North Node in Taurus pulls us toward a future where material resources, financial stability, and environmental responsibility are the new cornerstones of progress. Yet, as history has shown, power does not relinquish its grip without a fight. The tension of this square suggests that the road to transformation will be paved with resistance, upheaval, and karmic lessons that cannot be avoided. United States, financial institutions under fire as the U.S. faces Pluto's karmic test. In the United States, Pluto's square to the North Node brings the clash to the heart of financial systems and environmental policies. Picture this: corporate titans, their power deeply rooted in fossil fuels and traditional financial institutions, find themselves in direct conflict with a growing movement demanding sustainability and environmental justice. The tension will escalate as Pluto's transformative power pressures the U.S. government to overhaul financial regulations, pushing back against the unchecked influence of big corporations. Environmental movements, emboldened by this cosmic energy, will demand change, clashing head-on with the corporate elite. The karmic lesson embedded in the North Node's path is clear. Material security must be rooted in sustainability, not exploitation. As old financial structures resist reform, the country will grapple with whether it can align its economic future with the urgent need for environmental responsibility. Power struggles within political institutions will likely rise, challenging traditional leadership to adapt or risk being swept away by the tide of karmic progress. China faces karmic tensions as Pluto shakes its foundations of power and control. In China, the effects of this cosmic square are likely to be felt deeply within its governance structures and resource management policies. Pluto, seated in Capricorn, symbolizes a deep transformation of governmental power, and as it squares the North Node in Taurus, it pushes China toward a reckoning with how it handles its vast material resources. The Chinese government may face significant challenges as it seeks to balance economic expansion with the growing global demand for environmental sustainability. This square may force China to reconsider its resource extraction methods, environmental policies, and its role as a global leader in sustainability. The karmic tension here is profound. How China navigates this period will likely have long-lasting impacts, not just within its borders, but across the entire global stage. The choices made now will shape the nation's trajectory for generations to come. Europe confronts a tense struggle between traditional agriculture and sustainable reform. In Europe, particularly in agricultural giants like France, Italy, and Spain, Pluto's square to the North Node will ignite fierce debates over the future of farming, resource management, and financial regulations. The agricultural roots of these countries run deep, entwined with centuries of tradition. But as sustainability becomes a global imperative, tension mounts between preserving traditional farming practices and embracing modern, eco-conscious methods. The conflict is more than just a matter of policy. It's a karmic challenge that tests the continent's ability to balance economic growth with environmental preservation. Power struggles within the European Union may surface as countries clash over how to regulate finance and agriculture in a way that serves both the economy and the planet. With the North Node pointing toward sustainability, Europe must decide whether it will rise to the challenge or fall victim to the entrenched power structures that resist change. Russia faces internal power struggles as natural resources become a battleground. In Russia, where power has long been tied to control over vast natural resources like oil and gas, Pluto's square to the North Node sets the stage for internal conflict and economic tension. Imagine a government deeply reliant on its resource-based economy, but now under pressure from both external environmental demands and internal voices advocating for reform. Pluto's transformative energy threatens to shake the very foundations of Russia's economic structures, forcing the country to confront its dependence on industries that are increasingly at odds with the global push for sustainability. This cosmic square suggests that internal power struggles will flare up within the Russian government as emerging reformist voices challenge the old guard's grip on the economy. These tensions are not just about control, they're about Russia's future on the global stage. Will the country adapt to the rising demand for environmental responsibility, or will it cling to the traditional power structures that have defined its economy for decades? The karmic stakes could not be higher. Pluto's square to the North Node forces a global reckoning with material resources and sustainability. The tension of Pluto's square to the North Node isn't confined to any single nation. It reverberates across the globe, pulling every country into a karmic struggle that pits the old ways of power against the demands of a new, sustainable future. Whether it's the battle over financial regulation, the fight to reform agricultural practices, or the reckoning with natural resource dependency, the conflict is universal. Pluto, in its final degrees of Capricorn, urges the dismantling of outdated structures, while the North Node calls for progress rooted in material security and environmental stewardship. But this is no smooth transition. The power struggles ahead will be fierce, as those in control resist the inevitable pull of change. Financial systems, governments, and corporate empires will all be forced to confront their roles in this cosmic drama, with the understanding that karmic lessons cannot be sidestepped. What emerges from this period will depend on whether these structures can adapt to the urgent need for sustainability, or whether they will be dismantled entirely, making way for something new. Pluto's power struggles shake the IMF as global finance faces a karmic shift. As the Pluto North Node square tightens its grip in October 2024, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, finds itself at a critical juncture. The cosmic tension between Pluto's deep-seated demand for transformation and the North Node's karmic pull towards sustainability creates an atmosphere ripe for upheaval. At the heart of this celestial conflict lies a challenge that can no longer be ignored: the balance between maintaining global financial stability and the urgent need for reform in an era marked by growing economic disparities and environmental crises. This is no ordinary moment for the IMF. The very foundations of the financial systems it has long supported are being tested. Emerging markets, resource-rich nations, and developing economies all look to the IMF for leadership. But in this new era, business as usual is no longer an option. The pressure to overhaul financial policies is mounting as the need to address economic inequality and resource management becomes more urgent. Will the IMF rise to the occasion, embracing the karmic lessons of the North Node to guide the world towards sustainable financial practices, or will it cling to outdated structures that no longer serve the collective good? Trade tensions mount as the WTO confronts the karmic clash of economic interests and sustainability. Across the world's economic stage, the World Trade Organization, WTO, also feels the weight of the Pluto North Node square. Trade agreements, particularly those tied to agriculture and natural resources, are at the center of this karmic tension. Historically, global trade has been driven by economic interests, often at the expense of environmental preservation. But now, with Pluto demanding transformation and the North Node pulling societies toward a future grounded in sustainability, the status quo of global trade is being called into question. In this heightened atmosphere, the WTO faces a daunting challenge: how to reconcile the economic interests of nations with the growing global imperative for sustainable farming, resource management, and environmental protection. The power dynamics between wealthy nations and those with vast natural resources are shifting, creating a battleground where old trade structures resist the push for reform. The square between Pluto and the North Node suggests that the WTO will be forced to navigate disputes over trade policies as nations struggle to align their economic strategies with sustainability goals. This is a moment of reckoning for the WTO, where the future of global trade hangs in the balance. Will it champion new agreements that honor the Earth's limited resources, or will it fall victim to the entrenched power structures that resist change? IMF and WTO, the struggle to balance power and progress. As the cosmic forces of Pluto and the North Node clash, both the IMF and WTO find themselves navigating uncharted waters. For the IMF, the tension centers on how to adapt financial policies in a world where resource management and economic inequality can no longer be ignored. The karmic challenge is clear. Old financial systems must evolve to support sustainable growth. For the WTO, the struggle lies in reshaping trade agreements to reflect a balance between economic interests and environmental protection, a task that pits nations against one another in disputes over natural resources and sustainable practices. Together, these organizations stand at the forefront of a global shift. The forces of transformation are unavoidable, and the choices made in this period will define not just the future of global finance and trade, but the fate of the planet itself. With every step, the karmic lessons of this Pluto North Node square grow more urgent. The world watches, waiting to see if these powerful institutions will lead the way toward a more equitable, sustainable future, or be consumed by the resistance of entrenched power structures. The path forward: can global institutions embrace karmic transformation? As October 2024 unfolds, the Pluto North Node square casts its long shadow over the global financial and trade systems. The IMF and WTO are caught in the crossfire of this cosmic struggle, facing challenges that demand not just reform, but a complete reimagining of their roles in a world where sustainability and resource management are no longer negotiable. Will the IMF overhaul financial policies to promote economic equality and environmental stewardship? Will the WTO navigate the turbulent waters of trade reform to protect the planet's resources while balancing economic interests? The karmic tension of this square ensures that these questions cannot be avoided. As the world waits, the lessons of this moment echo across time, signaling that the future of global institutions depends on their ability to evolve, and quickly. Saturn's October 2024 transits, reshaping global power and systems. October 2024. The cosmos stands at a pivotal moment as Saturn in Pisces, 13 to 15 degrees, a stern and steady force, moves from retrograde to direct motion on October 12th. The world holds its breath, sensing the shift from a period of review and restructuring into one of concrete, transformative action. Saturn, the planet of discipline, restriction, and authority, looms large over institutions tied to healthcare, spirituality, and humanitarian efforts, domains deeply connected to Pisces. This is no mere celestial event. Saturn's slow and deliberate path promises to reshape governance, economic systems, and the very structure of societies across the globe. The impact of Saturn's transits in October cannot be overstated, especially as it aligns with Uranus in Taurus and the Moon's North Node. The stage is set for a period of unprecedented reforms that blend tradition with cutting-edge innovation. The road ahead will not be easy, but as Saturn shakes off the weight of its retrograde phase, the world stands poised for breakthroughs that will echo for generations. Saturn sextile Uranus, tradition meets innovation. As October draws to a close, a powerful sextile between Saturn in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus emerges, creating an atmosphere ripe for constructive reform. This alignment, active toward the end of the month, symbolizes a rare moment of harmony between the old and the new. Uranus, the planet of innovation and disruption, meets Saturn's discipline and structure, promising reforms that bridge traditional systems with forward-thinking technologies. The first half of the month may feel restrained, as Saturn's retrograde forces societies to reflect on existing structures, particularly in the realms of healthcare, spirituality, and humanitarian efforts. But as Saturn turns direct on October 12th, this reflection gives way to action, and the energy of the sextile grows stronger. Expect to see a fusion of progressive ideas with stable, practical implementation. This is a time when technology and tradition work hand in hand to drive reforms across key sectors like finance, agriculture, and energy. North America blends innovation and tradition to shape a sustainable future. In North America, the Saturn-Uranus sextile promises to ignite a wave of technological advancements. Picture a future where renewable energy systems power vast cities, where AI integrates seamlessly into daily life, and where financial technologies revolutionize how economies operate. The United States and Canada stand at the forefront of this transformation, poised to become global leaders in green technologies and fintech. Government-corporate partnerships will accelerate infrastructure modernization, blending futuristic technology with established systems. North America, known for its trailblazing spirit, will push boundaries, turning innovative concepts into concrete realities. Imagine skyscrapers powered entirely by renewable energy, roads constructed from sustainable materials, and financial systems that make global trade smoother and more secure. The sextile creates a fertile ground for progress, but it will require both courage and discipline to bring these innovations to life. Europe accelerates green farming revolution amidst climate crisis. As the European Union grapples with the urgency of climate change, the Saturn-Uranus sextile offers a beacon of hope. In countries like Germany, France, and across Scandinavia, this cosmic alignment provides the energy needed to accelerate reforms in agriculture and environmental policy. Here, ancient farming traditions meet modern technology, resulting in sustainable farming practices that can feed a growing population while protecting the planet. Imagine vast fields dotted with solar panels, wind turbines powering irrigation systems, and crops that are both bountiful and sustainable. The EU has long been a champion of environmental responsibility, but this aspect offers the structure to implement real change. Policies that were once considered radical will become the norm, as Saturn's steady influence ensures that these innovations are not just dreams, but enduring solutions to the world's most pressing problems. Asia's green energy boom and economic overhaul poised to reshape global markets. Across the vast expanse of Asia, from the bustling streets of Shanghai to the tech-savvy corridors of Tokyo and Seoul, the Saturn-Uranus sextile is set to spark profound changes in energy and economic systems. Imagine cities powered entirely by renewable energy, economies fueled by digital currencies, and a tech sector that leads the world in innovation. China, Japan, and South Korea, already global leaders in technology, will take even greater strides as they integrate green energy solutions into their infrastructure. This is no small feat. It is the fusion of tradition and modernity, of ancient wisdom and futuristic technology. These nations will push for sustainable growth, creating energy systems that are both efficient and environmentally responsible. This sextile encourages breakthroughs that will solidify their dominance in the global technology sector, while laying the groundwork for a more sustainable future. Global implications, a cosmic dance of tradition and progress. As October 2024 unfolds, Saturn's journey through Pisces and its harmonious connection with Uranus and Taurus will redefine the world. Governments will embrace technological advancements while maintaining the stability that Saturn demands. Economic policies will evolve, blending the security of tradition with the innovation needed to address modern challenges. But this is only the beginning. The cosmic forces at play suggest that the reforms initiated under these transits will have lasting impacts. The world is on the brink of a new era, one where technology, sustainability, and tradition coexist, creating systems that are both innovative and resilient. Harnessing Cosmic Forces, the World Economic Forum and IMF at the brink of global transformation. In the shifting tides of October 2024, the planetary dance between Saturn and Uranus brings more than just celestial intrigue. It sets the stage for groundbreaking transformations on a global scale. This sextile between Saturn, the guardian of discipline and tradition, and Uranus, the harbinger of innovation and disruption, becomes a beacon for two of the world's most powerful institutions, the World Economic Forum, WEF, and the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Together, these organizations stand at the edge of a new era, poised to rewrite the rules of technology, finance, and sustainability. With Saturn in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus aligning their energies, this is not a subtle moment. The forces at play are compelling governments, corporations, and global institutions to rethink, restructure, and revolutionize. What follows is a powerful narrative of change, where innovation meets responsibility and where global systems brace for the inevitable winds of progress. World Economic Forum, redefining global technology policies. Imagine Davos, nestled high in the Swiss Alps, where the world's most influential leaders gather under the shadow of ancient mountains to forge the future. The air is crisp with anticipation as the World Economic Forum seizes the rare alignment of Saturn and Uranus, a cosmic signal urging humanity to find harmony between the old and the new. WEF leads global call for technological innovation in sustainability and fintech. The WEF, with its finger on the pulse of global change, sees the potential in this celestial moment. Governments and corporations, once entrenched in outdated methods, are being pushed toward innovation in sustainability, fintech, and green infrastructure. Saturn's discipline ensures that these advancements won't be fleeting trends, but long-term strategies rooted in solid structure. Meanwhile, Uranus offers the creative spark needed to tackle the world's most pressing challenges: climate change, resource scarcity, and economic disparity. It's a turning point where the WEF, backed by this cosmic alignment, will call for policies that transcend borders, urging global cooperation. The conversations in those hallowed conference rooms will no longer just be about profits and power. They will be about survival and the future of the planet. Leaders from across industries will collaborate like never before, charting a course for a sustainable future that blends technological breakthroughs with a deep understanding of environmental stewardship. IMF pioneers financial reforms with blockchain and digital currency solutions. In Washington, D.C., far from the tranquil peaks of the Alps, another institution prepares for its own transformation. The International Monetary Fund, traditionally seen as a bastion of financial order, now faces the seismic shifts that Saturn and Uranus demand. Gone are the days when conventional systems could sustain the complexities of a fast-changing world. Now, the IMF must usher in a new financial dawn, one where digital currencies and blockchain technology don't just disrupt, they stabilize. Emerging economies, long stifled by traditional financial frameworks, are on the cusp of rebirth. Saturn's influence pushes the IMF to develop reforms that bring economic stability, while Uranus infuses the necessary innovation to leap into the future. Imagine the IMF facilitating the rise of digital currencies in developing nations, providing both the structure and flexibility required to adapt to shifting global markets. Blockchain, once viewed as a fringe technology, becomes the backbone of transparent and secure financial systems, enabling the unbanked to finally have access to the global economy. This is no small shift. It's a revolution in how money moves across borders, how nations stabilize their economies, and how the future of finance will be built. The IMF will be at the forefront, assisting countries in reshaping their financial systems to not only survive, but thrive in this era of digital transformation. Saturn trine the Moon's North Node, a cosmic catalyst for lasting change. As we move into the heart of October 2024, the cosmos orchestrates a moment of profound stability and promise. The trine between Saturn in Pisces and the Moon's north node in Taurus is not just another alignment. It is a celestial meeting of destiny and discipline, a fusion of karmic purpose and structured effort. Saturn, the ancient ruler of time and responsibility, casts its grounding influence on the North Node's journey through Taurus, a sign deeply rooted in material security, finance, and agriculture. In this rare moment, we are witnessing the convergence of forces that push humanity toward a future defined by sustainability, financial reform, and agricultural innovation. It's a time when the seeds of progress, sown in the soil of practicality and long-term vision, are nurtured by the hands of governments, institutions, and leaders, striving to secure a future that serves not just the present, but generations to come. The karmic weight of stability and progress. Saturn, the planet of structure and discipline, forms a harmonious trine with the North Node, the point in the sky that marks humanity's collective karmic journey. The North Node in Taurus speaks to the lessons we must learn about material security, sustainability, and the management of resources. With Saturn's steadying hand, these lessons are not just philosophical musings. They are given form through practical, disciplined efforts. In this cosmic interplay, nations around the world are called to address the very foundations of their financial and agricultural systems, ensuring that the steps they take now will lead to enduring stability and prosperity. United States focuses on long-term financial stability and sustainable agricultural practices. In the United States, this celestial alignment may act as a quiet yet powerful force behind economic reforms and agricultural advancements. Imagine a government that recognizes the karmic importance of sustainability, responding to the Saturn North Node trine by implementing policies aimed at reducing national debt while laying the groundwork for long-term financial security. There is a collective awareness growing, one that acknowledges the need for sustainable farming practices to address not only food security, but also the looming shadow of climate change. Perhaps inspired by this cosmic harmony, lawmakers might prioritize agricultural reforms that blend cutting-edge technology with environmentally responsible practices, ensuring that future generations inherit a system that can withstand the pressures of a changing planet. European Union nations accelerate agricultural reforms amid climate and economic challenges. Across the Atlantic, the European Union, with its deep commitment to sustainability, feels the pull of this Saturn North Node alignment in a very tangible way. Countries like France, Italy, and Spain, known for their agricultural richness, are poised to lead the charge in merging economic growth with environmental stewardship. Imagine verdant fields across France, where farmers are not only cultivating crops, but also cultivating a new relationship with the earth, one that respects the balance of nature and industry. Policies aimed at reducing environmental impact while ensuring food security could gain unstoppable momentum, driven by a shared belief in the karmic necessity of protecting the planet while fostering economic prosperity. This is more than policy, it's a shift in collective values, a recognition that the future of Europe depends on marrying innovation with tradition, growth with responsibility. The alignment of Saturn and the North Node offers a rare opportunity for these nations to cement their long-term sustainability goals. China advances sustainable agriculture and economic reform for long-term growth. In China, where the rapid pace of development often collides with the complexities of resource management, the Saturn North Node trine offers a blueprint for balance. The government's focus on economic sustainability and agricultural reforms is likely to be bolstered by this celestial force, encouraging leaders to craft policies that secure China's position as an economic powerhouse while addressing the urgent need for sustainable practices. Picture vast expanses of farmland, where advanced technologies such as AI-driven irrigation systems and genetically modified crops work in harmony with the earth, enhancing food production while minimizing environmental impact. These innovations are not just about efficiency, They are part of a larger strategy to ensure that China's growth is not at the expense of its natural resources. The Saturn North Node trine calls for deep structural changes, ensuring that China's rapid ascent continues in a way that is sustainable and aligned with the karmic responsibilities of resource management. World Bank pushes for agricultural innovation and long-term food security. In a world on the cusp of environmental and economic transformation, the World Bank is seizing a unique opportunity presented by the harmonious trine between Saturn and the Moon's North Node. This cosmic alignment offers a rare chance to plant the seeds of sustainable agriculture that will grow into a future of food security and economic stability. Against a backdrop of growing climate challenges and resource scarcity, the World Bank is poised to guide developing nations toward modern agricultural practices that blend innovation with sustainability. Picture vast farmlands stretching across continents, from the fertile plains of Africa to the rugged terrain of Southeast Asia, where modern farming technology harmonizes with nature's rhythms. The World Bank's initiatives aim not only to grow crops, but also to cultivate a system where resource management and food production work in unison to secure the well-being of future generations. This moment is a turning point where long-term strategies are no longer a luxury, but a necessity, and the World Bank is at the forefront of this global movement. FAO leads the charge for global agricultural sustainability amid climate change. As the world faces the daunting task of ensuring food security in the face of climate change, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, emerges as a critical player. The Saturn North Node trine offers an ideal cosmic environment for the FAO to champion sustainable farming practices that ensure long-term agricultural stability. Across regions devastated by unpredictable weather patterns and shrinking arable land, the FAO is advocating for policies that fuse modern agricultural techniques with a deep respect for environmental balance. In nations most affected by these shifts, where subsistence farming is no longer viable, the FAO's influence is a beacon of hope. Imagine the farms of tomorrow, vibrant, efficient, and resilient against the challenges of a changing world. With every policy recommendation, the FAO weaves together the threads of economic stability and food production, ensuring that vulnerable populations won't just survive, but thrive. Through collaboration with governments and institutions worldwide, the FAO is set to lead a revolution in how humanity approaches farming, food production, and environmental stewardship. Uranus retrograde in Taurus, revolutionizing global systems. As October 2024 unfolds, Uranus retrograde in Taurus takes center stage, quietly reshaping the global landscape. Taurus, a sign deeply rooted in material security, stability, and tradition, is thrust into chaos as Uranus, the planet of innovation, sudden change, and rebellion, demands progress. In retrograde, Uranus turns inward, calling for reflection on how societies approach technology, finances, and material resources. What emerges from this period will not be gentle or predictable. It will be a surge of groundbreaking innovation born from re-evaluating the old systems we have come to rely on. Imagine the vast landscapes of the world's financial and agricultural systems, steadfast and seemingly immovable, suddenly jolted by the electric force of Uranus. The ground beneath our feet quivers as the structures of security we've built are questioned, disrupted, and ultimately transformed. With Uranus retrograde, we are not merely experiencing change. We are invited to rethink and redefine the very foundations of modern society, particularly in the realms of technology, finance, and governance. Uranus trine Pluto, the power of constructive chaos. Among the most profound transits of October 2024 is the trine between Uranus in Taurus and Pluto in Capricorn. This celestial alignment is not just a whisper of change, it's a thunderous call to action, signaling the merging of Uranus's drive for innovation with Pluto's deep transformative power. Trines are harmonious, but don't let that fool you. This is not gentle change. It is the kind of transformation that occurs when the old ways crumble, making space for revolutionary advancements. Picture Pluto, the cosmic force governing power structures and authority, clashing with the radical energy of Uranus. Together, they signal the dismantling of outdated systems, urging governments and corporations to adapt or be left behind. This is a moment when technological breakthroughs are not just possible, they are inevitable. From energy systems to governance models, this transit provides fertile ground for lasting change, demanding that the world embrace new methods of managing resources and wielding power. Global impact of Uranus trine Pluto. United States faces radical overhaul in technology and financial systems, fueled by Uranus-Pluto energy. In the United States, the trine between Uranus and Pluto ushers in a new era of innovation. Think of green energy surging across the landscape, as breakthroughs in technology and fintech revolutionize sectors long thought impervious to change. As Uranus retrograde stirs a deep reflection on the nation's financial systems and resource management, Pluto demands a reconfiguration of corporate governance and government structures. We are on the brink of a financial and technological revolution, where old banking systems may collapse, paving the way for cryptocurrency regulations and economic reforms that acknowledge the new digital age. Europe's economic future unfolds. Uranus-Pluto trine pushes for green energy and governance reforms. Across the European Union, from the green energy farms of Germany to the financial districts of France and Italy, the Uranus-Pluto trine signals an economic awakening. Financial institutions, once resistant to change, now stand on the brink of modernization, as governments push for technological innovations to solve pressing issues like climate change and economic inequality. The green energy sector, in particular, is poised for explosive growth. Uranus's radical energy forces a rethinking of resource management, while Pluto's influence ensures that these transformations are solidified in governmental policy. China embraces revolutionary tech breakthroughs, strengthens global leadership with Uranus-Pluto trine. In China, this aspect will likely fuel extraordinary technological breakthroughs, propelling the nation to the forefront of global innovation. From artificial intelligence to blockchain and digital finance, China's leadership will emerge stronger than ever. As Uranus retrograde prompts reflection on how resources are managed and economic stability is maintained, Pluto pushes for significant governmental reforms. This combination will not only strengthen China's position in global technology, but also ensure its leadership in green technology and digital infrastructure, solidifying its influence on the world stage. The world reimagined, what lies ahead? As Uranus retrograde in Taurus dances with Pluto in Capricorn, we are witnessing the beginning of an era where long-standing power structures, financial systems, and technologies are revolutionized. The energy of these two outer planets will reverberate across the globe, creating waves of change in every sector. From the tech hubs of Silicon Valley to the agricultural fields of Europe and the burgeoning green cities of China, no corner of the world will be untouched by this cosmic revolution. Revolutionary movements and social unrest, a global reckoning. Across the globe, Uranus's energy crackles, demanding that societies confront the inequalities, injustices, and stagnation of outdated systems. Pluto in Capricorn, ruler of deep transformation and authority, sharpens the urgency of these demands, pushing for long-lasting change. This is not just a call for incremental reforms. It's a roaring insistence that the way we govern, distribute resources, and manage economies must shift or face collapse. Social unrest is no longer a threat on the horizon. It is imminent, fueled by this powerful trine. In history, we've seen similar alignments drive profound shifts in society. From the revolutions that toppled monarchies to the protests that redefined civil rights, Uranus has always been at the forefront of change, challenging systems that cling to outdated power. Now, in 2024, the world stands at a similar crossroads. The energy is ripe for rebellion, and it will not be silenced. Latin America rises. Protests against economic inequality and resource mismanagement sweep Brazil, Argentina, and Chile. In the fertile and tumultuous lands of Latin America, countries like Brazil, Argentina, and Chile are on the brink of revolutionary change. Under the influence of Uranus retrograde in Taurus, the people are waking up to the stark reality of economic inequality and environmental mismanagement. Protests are likely to ignite in the streets as citizens demand better stewardship of resources, land, energy, and financial systems that have long been controlled by a select few. Pluto in Capricorn amplifies this movement, urging not only the dismantling of corrupt structures, but the creation of new, sustainable systems that reflect the needs of the people. Grassroots movements are likely to gain momentum, focusing on environmental protections and economic justice. These countries have a rich history of revolutionary fervor, and this transit may signal the beginning of a new era, one where power shifts away from entrenched elites and into the hands of those fighting for a more equitable future. Organizational impact, reforms on a global scale. As revolutionary energy spreads across regions, global institutions like the IMF and the UN are not immune to the winds of change. In fact, they stand at the center of a rapidly evolving global landscape where financial systems and governance structures must be reimagined to meet the demands of a restless world. International Monetary Fund, IMF, embraces innovation, financial reforms to support emerging economies in a post-Uranus-Pluto world. In the corridors of the IMF, the trine between Uranus and Pluto echoes as a call to action. Financial instability, particularly in emerging economies, requires swift and innovative solutions. The old methods of managing debt and resource shortages are no longer viable in a world driven by technological advancements and shifting power dynamics. The IMF is likely to respond by supporting countries that are struggling with economic upheaval, offering forward-thinking financial strategies that align with Uranus's push for modernization. Countries facing financial crises may be offered solutions rooted in digital currency, blockchain, or alternative energy financing, ideas that would have been unthinkable just a decade ago. The IMF, known for its conservative approach, is forced to adapt or risk becoming obsolete in this new era of financial reform. United Nations UN leads governance reforms, a digital revolution in global policymaking. As the world's governments reel from the social unrest and power shifts driven by Uranus and Pluto, the United Nations must step into a pivotal role. Global governance is no longer just about maintaining peace. It's about adapting to the challenges of climate change, resource scarcity, and economic inequality. This trine supports the UN's mission to restructure international systems, pushing for policies that not only address immediate crises, but also create frameworks for long-term sustainability. Expect the UN to advocate for the integration of cutting-edge technology into governance, using digital platforms to create more transparent, responsive, and inclusive systems. From environmental governance to global financial reform, the UN's efforts during this period could reshape how the world cooperates to solve its most pressing challenges. Innovation meets reality, the Uranus-Saturn sextile's quiet power. In astrology, a sextile is an aspect of potential, a door that opens if we are willing to step through. In this case, Uranus and Saturn, seemingly at odds in their nature, come together in a rare collaboration that encourages progressive ideas to merge with solid frameworks. Uranus, ever the rebel, pushes for technological leaps, for sudden breakthroughs that shake the foundations of how we live, work, and govern. But Saturn, with its slow, measured wisdom, reminds us that real change must be sustainable, that innovation without discipline is merely chaos. The world feels this tension, this thrilling potential to leap forward, but only if we can balance the demands of both planets. The historical precedents are rich. Think of the Industrial Revolution, when technological advancements had to be harnessed by systems that could manage them, or the dawn of the Internet, where innovation soared but required governance and structure to flourish. Now, in 2024, we stand on the brink of yet another leap into the future, and Uranus and Saturn are showing us the way forward. North America's green energy revolution. Technological advancements take root in sustainable infrastructure. In North America, particularly in the United States and Canada, the Uranus-Saturn sextile promises a new era of technological advancement and infrastructure reform. Governments are poised to introduce ambitious policies aimed at modernizing transportation networks, energy grids, and financial systems. But unlike in previous times, this wave of innovation will not come as a flash in the pan. With Saturn's guiding hand, these advancements will be methodically integrated into existing frameworks, ensuring they endure and provide long-term benefits. This is a time when green energy will no longer be just a dream of the future, but a reality in the making. The sextile's influence pushes for the practical implementation of renewable energy systems, wind, solar, and hydropower, that will transform how North America powers its cities. But it's not just about energy. Financial technology, fintech, will also see significant developments, with digital currencies and blockchain technologies finding a stable place in the broader economic landscape. Sowing the seeds of the future, Europe's sustainable agriculture takes root with green technology. In the European Union, the Uranus-Saturn sextile weaves a delicate but urgent narrative. For centuries, Europe has been a continent that has balanced tradition with innovation, and now it finds itself at the crossroads of modern agricultural reform and environmental responsibility. With Uranus in Taurus focusing on material resources and Saturn in Pisces grounding these ideas in compassion and care, this aspect will likely drive the integration of sustainable farming practices across the EU. Picture vast stretches of farmland in France, Italy, and Spain, where ancient techniques blend seamlessly with cutting-edge technologies. Here, solar-powered farms and AI-driven irrigation systems ensure that resources are conserved while the soil is nurtured for future generations. The sextile will also influence policymaking, pushing governments to introduce green technologies that align with Europe's ambitious climate goals. This is not a time for hasty action, but for measured, thoughtful reform that ensures agricultural practices and sustainability policies are not only modern, but resilient, capable of standing the test of time. The era of responsible innovation, how the Uranus-Saturn sextile is shaping the future. The Uranus-Saturn sextile of October 2024 is no mere footnote in the cosmic narrative. It's a pivotal chapter. As societies across the globe grapple with the rapid pace of technological change and the growing need for sustainable resource management, this celestial alignment offers a way forward that blends the best of both worlds. Uranus provides the bold vision, the radical ideas that propel us into the future, while Saturn ensures that these ideas are anchored, structured, and able to create lasting impact. Governments, institutions, and corporations that seize the opportunity presented by this aspect will find themselves not only leading the way in innovation, but also setting the foundation for sustainable growth that will serve humanity for generations to come. The balance between progress and stability is delicate, but if embraced, it will reshape the world as we know it. The impact of this transit will ripple through some of the most influential organizations in the world. The WEF and the WHO are two institutions poised to ride the waves of this cosmic energy. These organizations will spearhead global movements, not just advocating for innovation, but ensuring that these changes lead to sustainable and meaningful reform. As we dive deeper into the impact of the Uranus-Saturn sextile, the importance of their roles in this transformative time becomes even clearer. World Economic Forum, navigating the future of green technology with innovation and stability. The streets of Davos may feel far removed from the vast expanses of outer space, yet the World Economic Forum, WEF, is not immune to the forces of the cosmos. As the Uranus-Saturn sextile weaves its influence over the world, the DEF finds itself at the forefront of a movement that demands nothing short of revolutionary change. The energy of Uranus pushes for breakthroughs in green technology, digital finance, and renewable energy, while Saturn's steady hand ensures these innovations are built to last. Historically, the WEF has been a platform for discussing the future of global economics and environmental policies. And now, this cosmic alignment breathes new life into its mission. Imagine the snowy peaks of Switzerland, where world leaders gather to debate the future of our planet. But this time, there is a new sense of urgency. The conversation no longer revolves around if we need change, but how fast we can implement it, while ensuring that these advancements don't crumble under the weight of their own ambition. At the heart of this movement is the delicate balance between innovation and sustainability. The WEF's influence on global policy, particularly in sectors like financial systems and environmental preservation, takes on new significance. With the Uranus-Saturn sextile acting as a guiding force, the WEF's discussions will push governments and corporations to adopt green technologies that are not just cutting edge, but also long-lasting. Here, the fusion of modern fintech systems and environmental policies will lay the groundwork for a future that is both progressive and resilient. World Health Organization, merging innovation with global healthcare stability for a healthier tomorrow. Picture a bustling hospital ward somewhere in Geneva, Switzerland, headquarters of the World Health Organization, WHO. In this place, where the world's most critical health decisions are made, the power of the Uranus-Saturn sextile will soon begin to take root. Uranus's push for innovation will inspire rapid advancements in medical technologies. Think cutting-edge diagnostic tools, artificial intelligence-driven healthcare systems, and breakthroughs in telemedicine. But these transformative leaps are not without the careful oversight of Saturn, ensuring that each new development is implemented with precision, care, and long-term success in mind. As this celestial aspect unfolds, the WHO will likely prioritize reforms that blend technological advancements with structured healthcare policies. The world is no stranger to the volatility of public health crises, from pandemics to aging populations. But under the influence of Uranus and Saturn, there is hope. Imagine healthcare systems that can rapidly adapt to emerging technologies, but that also have the infrastructure and governance to ensure these innovations are accessible and effective across the globe. This is not just about shiny new gadgets or futuristic treatments. It's about building a healthcare system that is ready for the challenges of the future, sustainable, adaptable, and resilient. The WHO will be central in ensuring that this technological progress doesn't bypass the world's most vulnerable populations. Whether through advocating for more comprehensive digital health policies or supporting the integration of AI into public health, the WHO's work during this period could reshape the future of global health. Astrological Forecast of the Conflicts for October 2024, Part 2 by Ambrosius Holloway. The Cosmic Awakening, Neptune Retrograde, and October's Spiritual Revolution. October 2024 is set to be a month of profound shifts, where the veil between illusion and truth begins to thin. Neptune, the mystical giant, is retrograding through its home sign of Pisces, urging societies around the globe to re-examine their spiritual values, collective ideals, and humanitarian endeavors. Known for its dreamy, ethereal influence, Neptune governs the realms of spirituality, compassion, and even illusion. But during this retrograde, the planet's energy takes on a new role, peeling back layers of uncertainty to reveal hidden truths. This is a time for reflection, where long-standing beliefs and societal structures will either dissolve under the weight of their own falsehoods or evolve into something more compassionate and enduring. Throughout this transformative period, a major aspect is Neptune's harmonious sextile with Pluto in Capricorn, an alignment that has the power to shape the spiritual and institutional fabric of nations. This rare cosmic alignment doesn't just create a shift in personal beliefs, it signals a global reimagining of how societies are governed and how power is wielded. Neptune sextile Pluto, the rise of compassionate governance in a transforming world. In the quiet depths of October's night sky, an almost imperceptible yet potent energy takes root. The sextile between Neptune in Pisces and Pluto in Capricorn, both stationed at critical degrees, opens the door to profound transformation. Neptune's influence washes over the collective consciousness, dissolving the hard edges of materialism, while Pluto, the planet of deep-rooted change, chisels away at outdated power structures. Together, these two planetary giants offer the world a rare opportunity to reimagine governance through the lens of compassion, spirituality, and humanitarian values. Historically, Neptune's influence has always stirred spiritual awakenings, but paired with Pluto's unyielding demand for structural reform, the result is nothing short of revolutionary. This isn't the violent revolution of old regimes toppling, but a more subtle, spiritual reshaping of authority, where compassion becomes the driving force behind governance, and leaders are called to serve not just their nations, but the global collective. Imagine the grand halls of government infused with a sense of spiritual duty, where policies are no longer designed for the elite few, but for the well-being of all humanity. United States, compassionate healthcare, and the rise of spiritual leadership in a changing nation. In the United States, the Neptune-Pluto sextile is poised to leave its mark in the form of healthcare reforms and a rise in spiritual leadership. From the bustling streets of Washington, D.C., to the quieter corners of rural America, this cosmic alignment will force the nation to confront deep questions about the health of its citizens, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. Neptune, with its ethereal touch, draws attention to mental health, spiritual well-being, and the need for holistic healthcare systems. As old systems begin to crumble under Pluto's influence, new, more compassionate policies could emerge, integrating mental health services and spiritual wellness programs into mainstream healthcare. Historically, the U.S. has been a leader in technological innovation and military power, but now the tides are shifting. Under Neptune's compassionate gaze, there is a growing movement towards social justice, environmental responsibility, and even global cooperation. Picture a future where healthcare reform is no longer about political gain, but about healing bodies, healing minds, and healing the deep wounds that have divided the nation. European Union. Spiritual responsibility meets political reform in the heart of Europe. In the old world capitals of Europe, Berlin, Paris, Rome, the winds of change are sweeping through the corridors of power. As Neptune's influence seeps into the heart of the European Union, it brings with it a call for compassion, justice, and spiritual reform. The sextile to Pluto signals a deeper integration of spiritual values into the very structures of governance. Imagine the iconic government buildings, where once rigid policies dominated, now considering reforms that emphasize not just economic stability, but also humanitarian well-being. Germany, France, and Italy, in particular, will likely be at the forefront of this transformation, implementing sweeping reforms in healthcare, immigration, and social welfare. The EU, already a leader in global climate initiatives, may deepen its commitment to sustainability, driven by a newfound spiritual responsibility to protect the Earth. This is a moment when the soul of Europe reconnects with its ancient heritage, where philosophy, humanism, and spirituality blend with modern governance to create a new kind of leadership, one that is built on the principles of unity and compassion. India, a spiritual renaissance and compassionate governance in the land of mystics. No place on Earth is more aligned with Neptune's spiritual energies than India, a nation steeped in centuries of mystical traditions and spiritual heritage. As the Neptune-Pluto sextile takes hold, India will find itself at the center of a new spiritual movement, one that blends its ancient wisdom with modern governance. The streets of Varanasi may teem with pilgrims seeking enlightenment, but this energy will now flow into the halls of government, inspiring reforms that emphasize social justice, environmental stewardship, and collective well-being. India has always been a land of contrasts, great spiritual wealth juxtaposed with economic inequality. But now, under Neptune's influence, the country may begin to address these contradictions, advocating for holistic healthcare, mental wellness, and environmental conservation. Picture temples and government buildings alike, unified in a vision for a compassionate, just society, where spiritual values guide policy and governance. A cosmic call for compassion, Neptune and Pluto shape global humanitarian policies. As Neptune retrograde in Pisces dances with Pluto in Capricorn throughout October 2024, The celestial alignment signals a profound shift in the way global institutions approach humanitarianism, health, and governance. This is not just a moment of change, but of awakening, a time when compassion and spiritual responsibility begin to reshape the world's most powerful organizations. At the heart of this transformation lies a deep cosmic pull toward unity, equity, and holistic well-being, where the power of human connection and spiritual values becomes central to decision-making. Across continents, from the grand halls of the United Nations to the critical corridors of the World Health Organization, the influence of this Neptune-Pluto sextile will be felt. This is a time for leadership steeped in empathy, for policies grounded in spiritual truth, and for a collective shift toward a future where the well-being of every person is sacred. United Nations, the cosmic call for compassion reshapes global humanitarian policies. In the ever-bustling chambers of the United Nations, where flags of the world's nations flutter in the breeze, the winds of change are undeniable. The powerful sextile between Neptune in Pisces and Pluto in Capricorn breathes life into a new era of global humanitarianism. The UN, already a beacon for international cooperation, now finds itself at a crossroads where spiritual values and global governance must intertwine. Neptune, the planet of compassion and collective dreams, calls for the integration of spiritual responsibility into global policies. As Pluto, the planet of deep transformation, grinds through Capricorn's power structures, there is no turning back. The UN's focus on humanitarian aid, healthcare initiatives, and global inequality will now be framed through the lens of compassionate leadership. No longer can global crises such as climate change, human rights abuses, or public health challenges be addressed through cold diplomacy alone. Instead, the Neptune-Pluto sextile suggests that empathy and spiritual accountability will drive these conversations, urging world leaders to view these issues not as abstract problems, but as deeply personal responsibilities. World Health Organization, a new vision for global health that embraces body, mind, and spirit. In the wake of countless global health challenges, from pandemics to mental health crises, the World Health Organization stands at the precipice of an extraordinary transformation. As Neptune's mystical energy aligns with Pluto's force for change, the WHO's mission is poised to evolve in a way that prioritizes not just physical health, but the spiritual and emotional well-being of all people. The Neptune-Pluto sextile promotes the idea that true health is more than the absence of disease. It is the balance of mind, body, and spirit. Picture the WHO's initiatives expanding to include mental health reforms, emphasizing compassionate care, and advocating for holistic healing approaches that recognize the spiritual dimensions of well-being. With Neptune's influence in Pisces, the WHO is urged to acknowledge that spiritual health is as vital as physical health, especially in a world where stress, anxiety, and societal pressures are on the rise. This is more than an organizational pivot. It's a call to reimagine global healthcare. Under the watchful eye of the Neptune-Pluto sextile, we may see the WHO promote global healthcare systems that nurture not just the body, but the soul. Mental health reforms, compassionate end-of-life care, and holistic healing practices are likely to come to the forefront, shaping a future where healing is not just about science, but about love and connection. The UN's spiritual responsibility, compassionate leadership in global humanitarian crises. In the grand narrative of this cosmic alignment, the most profound impact will be the reimagining of global humanitarian policies. The United Nations, under Neptune's ethereal guidance, will push for a worldwide shift that no longer views humanitarianism as a duty, but as a spiritual calling. Climate change, global inequality, and the refugee crisis will be reframed as not just political or economic issues, but as moral imperatives, deeply intertwined with the fate of the human spirit. The stories of those affected by climate disaster, hunger, or displacement are no longer distant tragedies. They are the stories of our shared humanity. Just as Neptune dissolves boundaries, so too will the UN work to dissolve the lines between nations, urging a collective approach to problems that transcend borders. Human rights, public health and climate action will no longer be initiatives for the few, but calls to action for all. WHO's Holistic Revolution, a new approach to global healthcare that heals the soul. As the planets weave their cosmic narrative, the World Health Organization finds itself at the epicenter of a healthcare revolution. The Neptune-Pluto sextile offers an opportunity to rewrite the story of global health, one where healing is not merely a science, but an art that embraces the emotional and spiritual needs of individuals. Imagine a world where healthcare workers are trained not only in medicine, but also in empathy, where patients are seen not just as numbers, but as souls in need of care. The WHO will champion mental health programs that promote mindfulness, spiritual well-being, and compassionate care, recognizing that the path to global health is paved with more than just medicine. Holistic practices from meditation to end-of-life care will find their way into mainstream global health policies, driven by the realization that true healing must address the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. When the cosmos aligns, Neptune and Jupiter's call for global compassion. As October 2024 unfolds, a powerful cosmic alignment between Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini takes center stage. This sextile, a harmonious and gentle meeting of planetary energies, has the potential to spark a revolution in spiritual growth, humanitarian efforts, and creative expression. Imagine the unseen forces of the universe aligning to bring clarity, wisdom, and compassion to a world in need of healing and knowledge. Neptune, ruler of dreams, spirituality, and collective empathy, blends with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, intellectual curiosity, and communication. Together, they open a path toward deeper understanding and interconnectedness, urging societies to embrace compassionate healthcare, the arts, and global cooperation. With each passing day, their influence becomes more profound, drawing people into a movement where knowledge is power and compassion reigns supreme. Compassionate Healthcare Revolution, how the U.S. is embracing holistic wellness and mental health reforms. In the United States, the air is thick with the possibility of transformation as the Neptune-Jupiter sextile sets the stage for monumental shifts in healthcare. Imagine a country where healthcare isn't just about treating the physical body, but about nurturing the soul. Neptune, with its Piscean ideals of compassion, weaves through the nation's healthcare systems, urging for reforms that prioritize mental health, holistic medicine, and a community-based approach to wellness. Jupiter, perched in the ever-curious sign of Gemini, amplifies this conversation, spreading ideas like wildfire. The power of communication takes center stage as discussions about mental health, compassionate care, and public health education ripple across media outlets and social platforms. Humanitarian efforts grow stronger, with movements sprouting in cities and towns, advocating for healthcare solutions that reflect the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit. A renaissance in Europe, how art and humanitarianism are shaping a new era of social change. Across the Atlantic, in the heart of Europe's most historic cities, a renaissance is unfolding. France, Spain, and Italy, nations long associated with art, culture, and intellectual movements, now stand at the crossroads of humanitarianism and creative expression. Jupiter in Gemini stokes the flames of knowledge sharing, while Neptune in Pisces inspires the collective consciousness to rise toward greater compassion. In the streets of Paris, in the galleries of Rome, and through the plazas of Madrid, artistic expression becomes a powerful force for social change. Humanitarian ideals pulse through the veins of Europe, driven by a renewed focus on social justice and human rights. Artists, activists, and intellectuals unite to channel Neptune's spiritual wisdom through creative works that not only inspire, but also serve as a vehicle for addressing global injustices. Asia's spiritual health revolution, the integration of holistic practices into modern medicine. In Asia, particularly in countries like Japan, South Korea, and India, the fusion of spirituality and healthcare takes on new dimensions. Neptune's compassionate hand gently guides these societies toward a healthcare system that sees the individual as a whole, mind, body, and spirit. Jupiter in Gemini fosters an explosion of knowledge sharing as innovative healthcare approaches meet traditional spiritual wisdom. In India, a country steeped in spiritual heritage, new movements advocating for mental health awareness and holistic care gain momentum. Across South Korea and Japan, healthcare systems begin to integrate mindfulness, meditation, and spiritual well-being with cutting-edge medical technology. It's a time when ancient practices and modern medicine meet, not in opposition, but in harmonious coexistence. This is more than just a healthcare revolution. It is a spiritual awakening that brings healing to both the soul and the body. The United Nations Compassionate Mission: How Spiritual Responsibility is Shaping Global Governance. In the halls of the United Nations, where leaders of the world gather to address the most pressing issues of our time, the Neptune-Jupiter sextile brings a sense of spiritual responsibility. Compassionate leadership takes center stage as the UN amplifies its focus on humanitarian aid and healthcare initiatives. The UN's mission evolves, emphasizing not just economic stability or political peace, but spiritual well-being and human dignity. Neptune, with its Piscean energy, encourages a shift away from materialism and self-interest, guiding leaders toward decisions rooted in compassion, unity, and global cooperation. Under this influence, global healthcare systems could see reforms that prioritize mental health and holistic well-being, while environmental policies might reflect a deeper respect for the interconnectedness of all life. World Health Organization's vision, a new era of global healthcare focused on mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. At the heart of this global transformation lies the World Health Organization, an institution that now finds itself guided by the Neptune-Jupiter sextile. The WHO is poised to lead the world into a new era of healthcare, one that embraces not just physical well-being, but mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Imagine a world where healthcare policies reflect the wisdom of ancient healing practices, combined with the technological advancements of modern medicine. This is the vision Neptune and Jupiter offer, and the WHO is prepared to champion this holistic approach. Mental health initiatives will expand, and policies that encourage compassionate care will emerge, reflecting the deeper truth that true healing requires nurturing the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. A global shift toward compassionate care, Neptune and Jupiter unite. As the stars align in October 2024, a cosmic force is set to sweep across the world, ushering in a transformative wave of healthcare innovation and humanitarian reform. The sextile between Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini brings forth an unprecedented moment in global history, where spiritual well-being and intellectual curiosity combine to forge new paths in public health and humanitarian efforts. This celestial harmony is more than just an astrological aspect. It's a call to action for governments, organizations, and people worldwide to embrace compassion, care, and healing on a deeper level. WHO leads a global healthcare revolution, integrating spiritual wellness and mental health into public health policies. Imagine the World Health Organization, WHO, at the forefront of a healthcare revolution. The gentle yet compelling energy of Neptune's compassion merges with Jupiter's intellectual expansion, urging the WHO to rethink the very foundation of global health. The traditional approach to medicine is no longer enough. The time has come to recognize the importance of mental and spiritual well-being, not just as a supplement to physical health, but as an integral part of healing. As this aspect takes hold, the WHO may champion healthcare innovations that extend beyond the physical body, encouraging governments to adopt policies that nurture the whole person. Picture public health systems where mental health support is as critical as any medical procedure, where spiritual wellness is interwoven into treatment plans, and where compassionate care becomes the standard for healthcare providers across the globe. Compassion in action. The Red Cross and UNICEF see unprecedented support amid global humanitarian crises. As the celestial dance between Neptune and Jupiter unfolds, humanitarian organizations like the Red Cross and UNICEF stand at the precipice of a new era of global cooperation. Envision a world where public support for humanitarian causes swells as if driven by the very compassion of the stars themselves. Donations surge, volunteer efforts multiply, and the spirit of giving permeates across borders, bringing hope to the most vulnerable. In this time of crisis and need, Neptune's influence brings a renewed sense of empathy to the forefront, while Jupiter's expansive energy channels this compassion into tangible action. Imagine the Red Cross on the ground, responding to global health crises with more resources than ever before, and UNICEF addressing the needs of displaced children with unprecedented international backing. Humanitarian efforts are no longer reactive, they are proactive, driven by a collective call to alleviate suffering and restore dignity to those in need. Holistic healing for a global age. WHO advocates for compassionate, integrated healthcare systems. In the past, healthcare has often been a siloed endeavor, one that focuses on treating the body while leaving the mind and spirit unattended. But under the influence of Neptune's compassionate gaze and Jupiter's expansive communication, the WHO may envision a future where holistic healthcare is no longer a luxury, but a global standard. Imagine policies that promote mental health care as a right, spiritual wellness programs that are integrated into public hospitals, and healthcare providers who are trained not just in medicine, but in empathy. This is a future where the healing power of kindness is recognized as critical to well-being, where compassionate care becomes the benchmark by which healthcare is measured. Governments across the world are encouraged to embrace this model, recognizing that health is not merely the absence of disease, but the presence of peace, balance, and love in every human heart. A renaissance of compassion, global humanitarian organizations flourish with public support and cooperation. The sextile between Neptune and Jupiter doesn't just stir hearts, it moves mountains. Global humanitarian organizations are now facing a surge in public support unlike anything seen in modern history. But this isn't just a moment of fleeting goodwill, it's a renaissance of compassion, driven by a collective desire to uplift those in dire need. The world watches as the Red Cross mobilizes with newfound strength, responding to natural disasters and health crises with resources that seem almost limitless. UNICEF, too, stands as a beacon of hope for millions of children, providing food, shelter, and education to those displaced by conflict or poverty. But these organizations aren't acting alone. The public support is more than just financial. It's spiritual. It's emotional. It's a shared commitment to a more compassionate world, where no child is left behind, no community forgotten. Pluto at the threshold, the final reckoning in Capricorn's shadow. October 2024 marks the climax of Pluto's long sojourn through Capricorn, a powerful transit that has reshaped global governance, economic systems, and leadership structures since 2008. Now at 29 Gigi, Pluto's transformative energy reaches its most critical juncture. The planet of power, destruction, and rebirth sits at the final degree of Capricorn, a space fraught with tension, where the consequences of unchecked authority and corruption come crashing to the surface. As Pluto retrogrades until October 12th, a deep introspective stillness blankets the globe, but the storm is brewing. When Pluto stations direct, its energy shifts, like a dormant volcano stirring to life, triggering waves of reform, leadership transitions, and seismic shifts in the very foundations of our political and corporate worlds. Political and economic restructuring, a global power shift on the horizon. Pluto governs the underworld of human systems, power, control, and regeneration. And as it makes its final stand in Capricorn, the force it exerts is unstoppable. The air feels thick with anticipation, as if the planet itself is holding its breath for the storm of change. October 12th, when Pluto stations direct, signals the beginning of a reckoning. Political and corporate power struggles, long hidden in the shadows, will now come into stark view. Leadership changes are inevitable. Systems too deeply entrenched in corruption and inequity will be forced to confront their flaws. Pluto's energy digs deep, unearthing the roots of decay within governments and corporations, demanding regeneration. It is the ultimate cosmic upheaval. The old ways must die for new systems to be born. This is no gradual transition. It is the breaking point, the fulcrum that propels the world into a new era of governance, corporate integrity, and economic policies that can no longer ignore the voices of the many for the profits of the few. America at a crossroads. Pluto forces political restructuring and corporate reformation. In the United States, the weight of Pluto's station direct will bear down on both political and corporate powerhouses. The American political system, already rife with tension, could face unprecedented scrutiny. Picture a nation grappling with the stark realities of systemic corruption as hidden power dynamics within government and corporate America are laid bare. As Pluto hovers at the threshold of change, leadership transitions may sweep through Congress and the executive branches, while corporate titans brace for reforms that could topple decades-old hierarchies. The specter of economic inequality looms large, magnified by Pluto's unrelenting demand for justice. The legal frameworks that have protected corporate misdeeds will crumble as the public's cry for accountability reverberates through every financial institution. Expect sweeping reforms in corporate governance as Pluto tears down unethical practices, making way for transparency and fairness. Middle East in flux. Pluto's final act triggers leadership upheavals and geopolitical shifts. Across the Middle East, Pluto's station direct will crack the foundation of leadership structures, triggering political upheaval in nations where power has been consolidated for too long. Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Turkey, with their long-standing internal tensions and complex political landscapes, will face the full force of Pluto's transformative energy. These nations, steeped in history and power struggles, are on the brink of revolution or significant regime changes. As Pluto moves direct, expect challenges to authority like never before. In Saudi Arabia, the delicate balance of leadership may unravel, while in Iran, tensions over governance could ignite massive public unrest. Turkey, too, could see its leadership structures shaken to their core as geopolitical shifts bring fresh calls for reform. Power struggles will intensify, and the old guard may no longer hold sway as the demands for change grow louder. Europe on the brink. Pluto pushes for economic reforms and political restructuring. In Europe, the echoes of Pluto's station direct will reverberate through the halls of power, particularly in nations like Germany, France, and Italy. Economic reforms, long overdue, will no longer be optional. As Pluto exposes systemic flaws, European governments will be forced to confront public dissatisfaction and the economic instability that has simmered beneath the surface for years. The banking systems and corporate governance models that once seemed untouchable will now face the full brunt of Pluto's demand for transformation. Germany may find itself reevaluating its economic policies to address rising inequality, while France grapples with public unrest over financial transparency. Italy, too, will be pushed toward reforms that prioritize social responsibility and environmental sustainability. The political and economic structures of Europe will not emerge unscathed, but from the ashes of this crisis, new policies will arise. Policies rooted in transparency, fairness, and long-term sustainability. Pluto unleashed, the IMF and UN brace for a global economic and political overhaul. As Pluto stations direct in October 2024, the world finds itself at a crossroads. This celestial event signals the final stage of Pluto's transformative influence in Capricorn, a force that has dismantled and reshaped power structures across the globe. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the United Nations, UN, two key pillars of global governance, now stand on the front lines of a monumental shift. Debt crises, economic instability, and political upheavals are no longer distant possibilities, but immediate challenges. The shadow of Pluto hangs heavy over these institutions, pushing them toward radical reform and deeper accountability. What unfolds in the coming months will not only define the future of nations, but reshape the course of human history. IMF on the front lines, restructuring global economies as Pluto's shadow falls. The International Monetary Fund, long known for its role in stabilizing economies on the brink, is about to face its most formidable challenge yet. As Pluto's energy intensifies, so too does the pressure on the IMF to address the festering wounds of global economic inequality. Picture it: debt-ridden nations, their fragile economies teetering on collapse, look to the IMF not just for financial rescue, but for long-term solutions that will reshape their futures. In the shadow of Pluto's station direct, the IMF will likely promote new economic policies aimed at balancing the scales of financial inequality. Debt restructuring, once a dry term buried in economic jargon, now becomes a beacon of hope for nations shackled by loans and interest rates they can never repay. The energy of Pluto demands regeneration, and for the IMF, that means leading the charge on policies that not only stabilize economies, but foster sustainable, long-term growth. The echoes of past financial crises will reverberate through the halls of this global institution, urging it to forge a path that aligns with Pluto's relentless push for transformation. UN at the helm, leading political reforms in a world awakened by Pluto's influence. The United Nations, the body tasked with maintaining international peace and cooperation, is being thrust into the heart of Pluto's transformative energy. In regions where political instability reigns, the UN's role becomes ever more critical. Imagine the unrest in countries struggling under authoritarian regimes, where power imbalances have left the people voiceless and impoverished. The UN, under Pluto's influence, must now step into the role of an advocate for sweeping political reforms. Pluto's station direct doesn't just reveal corruption, it exposes deep-rooted systemic flaws, demanding that they be torn down and rebuilt. The UN's efforts during this period will likely center on promoting governance reforms, with a particular focus on increasing accountability in regions that have been marred by corruption and authoritarian rule. Global governance is no longer just about diplomacy. It's about revolutionizing the very systems that hold societies together. As Pluto pushes for the dismantling of old, decaying structures, the UN will strive to ensure that the process of rebuilding is anchored in justice, human rights, and international cooperation. IMF and the future of debt, reshaping global economic policies under Pluto's watchful eye. Pluto's influence reaches deep into the financial mechanisms that govern the global economy, bringing the IMF face-to-face with a monumental task: debt restructuring in developing nations. For decades, these countries have been locked in cycles of debt, borrowing to survive, but never able to break free from the crushing weight of interest and repayment schedules. Now, under Pluto's gaze, the IMF must pivot from short-term fixes to long-term solutions that address systemic inequalities. Debt restructuring, once a conversation confined to backroom negotiations, is now front and center. In countries across Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia, governments are negotiating not just for survival, but for a chance to rebuild their economies from the ground up. Pluto's demand for transformation insists that these negotiations aren't just about managing crises. They are about creating sustainable financial systems that can weather future storms. The UN in the eye of the storm, Pluto's power reshapes global governance and accountability. Across the world, Pluto's final degrees in Capricorn are catalyzing political upheaval. The UN's role during this period is pivotal, as nations racked by political instability look to the international community for guidance and support. In regions such as the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Asia, where leadership transitions and power vacuums are all too common, the UN's mission to promote political accountability will become more urgent than ever. But this is no ordinary moment in time. The energy of Pluto forces the UN to take bold steps, initiating governance reforms that go beyond peacekeeping and mediation. The organization's focus will likely shift toward addressing global power imbalances, pushing for policies that empower citizens and uphold democratic principles. As Pluto unearths corruption and abuse of power, the UN will work to foster systems of governance that are resilient, equitable, and above all, transparent. Pluto's final push, a cosmic dance of power and diplomacy in October 2024. In the celestial theater of October 2024, a rare and powerful alignment takes center stage. Pluto in Capricorn trines Jupiter in Gemini, creating an electric atmosphere of transformation and growth. This isn't just an astrological event, it's a cosmic invitation for profound shifts in communication, governance, and finance across the globe. Pluto, at its final degree in Capricorn, intensifies its call for structural reform, while Jupiter, ever expansive in Gemini, beckons for intellectual progress and diplomatic dialogue. As these two giants harmonize, the stage is set for a world eager for change, dialogue, and collective breakthroughs. The weight of history presses down, but the future crackles with possibility. A new era of accountability. The U.S. faces financial and legal rebirth under Pluto's gaze. The trine between Pluto and Jupiter casts a long shadow over the financial and legal corridors of the United States. Imagine a boardroom, sleek and modern, where corporate leaders face the mounting pressure of economic inequality and public demand for transparency. Here, in the crucible of Pluto's transformative energy, legal frameworks that once seemed impenetrable begin to shift. Picture government officials drafting reforms, their pens moving with an urgency spurred by Jupiter's influence, encouraging innovation and openness. This is no small moment, it's a defining one. As the trine unfolds, it nudges the U.S. toward breakthroughs in corporate governance and financial regulation. The long-standing barriers between power and accountability are weakening, giving way to policies that prioritize economic fairness and corporate responsibility. Jupiter's intellectual energy, channeled through Gemini, enhances the spread of knowledge and legal innovations. The public discourse shifts, and suddenly it seems possible that the very structure of wealth distribution in the U.S. could transform. Europe's renaissance of governance, intellectual growth and reform unleashed by Pluto's final push. In the grand halls of European governance, where tradition and modernity collide, Pluto and Jupiter are working in tandem to reshape the continent's future. As the echoes of ancient European empires resound through the capitals of Berlin, Paris, and Rome, this trine creates a symphony of governance reform. The intellectual prowess of Jupiter in Gemini fuels diplomatic discourse, bringing a renaissance of ideas and reforms aimed at unifying Europe in ways unseen before. Picture diplomats and lawmakers sitting around ornate conference tables, their discussions charged with Pluto's transformative power. They are no longer debating in the abstract. They are drafting laws and policies that will ripple through generations. Economic policies that once favored the elite begin to shift toward a more balanced and equitable framework. Corporate giants, long shielded from accountability, now face new governance structures that demand transparency and social responsibility. Intellectual growth surges, and Europe's universities, think tanks, and legal institutions become hotbeds of innovation, fueled by Jupiter's expansive vision. Global diplomacy reimagined, Pluto and Jupiter forge a path toward economic and diplomatic transformation. Across the globe, this Pluto-Jupiter trine radiates waves of transformative energy, encouraging nations to come together in a spirit of cooperation and shared vision. Imagine leaders from around the world, gathered in summit halls, their words shaped by the intellectual currents of Jupiter and the transformative demands of Pluto. Diplomatic breakthroughs, long hoped for but never realized, finally seem within reach. Communication flows freely, solutions to complex global issues, climate change, economic disparity, international conflict are no longer distant dreams, but tangible outcomes on the horizon. In the world of finance, international economic systems face a reckoning. The trine encourages a reevaluation of how wealth is distributed and managed, pushing global institutions to adopt more transparent and equitable policies. Banking systems, trade agreements, and international corporate structures, once symbols of untouchable power, are being reshaped under Pluto's influence. The future demands progress, and now, under the guiding hand of Jupiter's intellect, it seems the world is finally ready to answer. Corporate America in the crosshairs, financial transparency and reform under Pluto's final degree. Back in the US, corporate boardrooms buzz with the anticipation of imminent change. The power that once shielded the elite is now under Pluto's scrutiny. Legal reforms aimed at curbing corporate excess are drafted with new vigor. Picture a courtroom where judges deliberate cases involving major financial institutions, cases that could set new precedents for transparency and corporate governance. The Pluto-Jupiter trine not only exposes hidden corruption, but brings about real-world consequences. Jupiter's influence in Gemini strengthens the dialogue, pushing for an intellectual approach to reform. Public discourse around corporate responsibility intensifies as media outlets and think tanks amplify calls for accountability. The laws are not merely symbolic, they are practical, designed to ensure long-term stability. As the US steps into this new era, one can almost feel the tectonic plates of power shifting beneath the surface, heralding a future where corporate influence is no longer unchecked. Power shifts in the Middle East. Pluto and Jupiter spark leadership transitions and political reforms. Pluto's trine to Jupiter sends seismic ripples through the politically complex Middle East. In capitals like Riyadh, Tehran, and Ankara, leadership structures that have stood for decades begin to show cracks. Picture the palaces and government buildings where leaders, once seemingly untouchable, now face the weight of Pluto's transformative energy. Political alliances shift, new leaders rise, and old regimes falter. The region, long defined by intricate power dynamics, is now on the cusp of profound change. Public protests flare as citizens demand more transparency, more accountability from their governments. Pluto's influence doesn't just stir unrest, it demands action, and the Middle East may witness significant leadership transitions and policy reforms. Political upheaval is not an end, but a beginning. Jupiter's influence ensures that out of this turmoil will come diplomacy, intellectual growth, and perhaps the first steps toward long-term stability. Pluto trine Uranus, the awakening of global powers and the surge of revolutionary change. In October 2024, the cosmos orchestrates a profound shift as Pluto in Capricorn forms a trine with Uranus in Taurus. This alignment brings together Pluto's relentless drive for transformation and Uranus's wild, revolutionary energy, setting the stage for deep, irreversible changes in global systems. This trine is a call for innovation, shaking the very foundations of financial markets, resource management, and governance, promising a world where technology fuels reform and new economic structures rise from the rubble of the old. This aspect between Pluto and Uranus isn't just an astrological phenomenon, it's a global turning point. A moment when the balance of power shifts, economies evolve, and the world takes a sharp turn toward an era defined by technological progress and financial reinvention. Across continents, from the United States to China, the effects of this celestial dance will reverberate, heralding a new age where innovation leads the charge. Global innovation ignites. The revolutionary dance of Pluto and Uranus redefines financial and political power. Across the world, the Pluto-Uranus trine resonates like a seismic shift in the foundations of global markets and political power. Picture a world where governments and corporations no longer resist change, but embrace it. Financial institutions, long entrenched in tradition, find themselves at the mercy of rapidly evolving technology. Cryptocurrencies are no longer just speculative investments, but integral parts of global commerce. Blockchain innovations ensure transparency in industries that once thrived in secrecy. In nations where financial stability teeters on the edge, this trine offers both a challenge and a solution. Countries facing economic crises may find salvation in the innovative technologies that Uranus brings. Green energy initiatives and digital infrastructure projects offer pathways to recovery, while Pluto's influence ensures that the changes are deep, lasting, and transformative. America's financial revolution, from cryptocurrency to green energy, Pluto and Uranus reshape the nation. Back in the US, the effects of this powerful alignment can be seen in the rise of cryptocurrency and the rapid expansion of green energy industries. Imagine tech entrepreneurs gathering in Silicon Valley, their eyes fixed on the future as they develop blockchain solutions that could revolutionize finance. The era of cryptocurrency regulation has dawned, transforming the financial landscape and offering a new form of stability in an unpredictable market. This isn't just about innovation, it's about laying the groundwork for the future of the American economy. In the United States, this trine between Pluto and Uranus strikes at the heart of financial systems and technological infrastructure. Imagine the skyline of New York City, the financial capital of the world, where the silent hum of progress grows louder as fintech innovations disrupt traditional markets. Banks, long seen as untouchable powerhouses, begin to embrace the volatile world of cryptocurrency. Regulation of digital currencies, once a distant concept, now moves swiftly, pushed forward by Pluto's transformative force and Uranus's thirst for revolution. Simultaneously, green energy blossoms across the nation. Wind turbines rise above the plains, solar panels stretch across rooftops, and electric vehicles hum along highways. The trine between Pluto and Uranus is not simply a call for change, it is a demand. And the United States, recognizing this, begins to shift its policies, funneling resources into technologies that promise both economic growth and environmental stewardship. At the same time, the green energy movement, fueled by this alignment, sparks a technological renaissance. Picture wind farms expanding across the Midwest and solar fields lighting up the desert landscapes. New policies focusing on sustainability gain traction, their roots deep in Uranus's innovative power. The United States, already a technological powerhouse, now finds itself at the forefront of a global movement, integrating cutting-edge solutions into its infrastructure to combat economic challenges and climate crises. China's tech ascendancy, pioneering AI, blockchain, and sustainable growth with Pluto and Uranus at the helm. Across the globe in China, the Pluto-Uranus trine fuels the engines of an already rapid rise. As the world watches, China moves boldly into the future, positioning itself as a global leader in cutting-edge technologies. In the bustling cities of Beijing and Shanghai, where skyscrapers pierce the sky, artificial intelligence weaves seamlessly into everyday life, and digital finance reshapes how businesses operate. China's breakthroughs in blockchain technology and AI are not just innovations, they are stepping stones to global dominance. In China, the trine has a different but equally profound impact. Picture a nation already entrenched in the digital age, where cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, 5G, and blockchain are integrated into daily life. As Uranus pushes for continued innovation, China rises to the occasion, not only leading but redefining the future of global technology. Economic reforms also take root, focusing on long-term stability. Under Pluto's transformative energy, China implements policies that ensure sustainability and resilience in a world facing economic upheavals. Resource management becomes a top priority, aligning with Uranus's call for innovation in agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. The world watches as China's influence expands, not just through technological prowess, but through economic strategies that promise both growth and stability. Under Pluto's influence, China's economic reforms become more pronounced, focusing on sustainability and long-term stability. Uranus's presence in Taurus breathes life into resource management strategies, ensuring that China not only thrives technologically, but also leads the charge in balancing growth with environmental responsibility. The once opaque boundaries between government, economy, and technology blur as China cements its role. Legal reforms and financial renaissance. Jupiter and Pluto propel the US into a new era of responsibility. In the halls of Washington, D.C., a quiet yet powerful transformation begins to take root. As Jupiter-Gemini forms a harmonious trine with Pluto in Capricorn, the United States finds itself at the cusp of significant legal reforms and financial growth. This alignment, active throughout October, stirs the intellectual and diplomatic currents of the nation, fostering debate, negotiation, and a hunger for structural change. Jupiter's expansive energy in Gemini encourages open communication, turning once stagnant conversations into legislative breakthroughs. Picture the Supreme Court deliberating new rulings on corporate governance or Congress debating financial reforms that seek to curb economic inequality. The influence of Pluto pushes these debates deeper, calling for the overhaul of outdated systems. Financial institutions, under increasing scrutiny, may finally face reforms to address corporate responsibility and regulatory loopholes. The reverberations of this planetary dance will be felt in Silicon Valley, where the legal frameworks around technology, data privacy, and artificial intelligence are likely to be redefined. Picture tech giants embracing new regulations, the very structures of the corporate world bending under the weight of reform, leading to long-term financial stability. Governance reimagined, Europe's economic boom and structural reform under Jupiter and Pluto's watchful eye. Across the Atlantic, in the centuries-old chambers of Brussels, another revolution brews. The Jupiter-Pluto trine sparks a period of economic expansion and governance reform within the European Union, particularly in pivotal nations such as Germany, France, and Italy. This aspect encourages cross-border cooperation, inviting a convergence of ideas as nations tackle issues that demand not just conversation, but action. Jupiter in Gemini, a natural diplomat, strengthens the intellectual backbone of the Union, fostering dialogue on critical issues, corporate governance, sustainability, and economic inequality. Imagine leaders gathered in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, negotiating policies that not only advance economic growth, but also emphasize corporate responsibility and sustainability. At the same time, Pluto in Capricorn demands deep structural changes, reshaping the very core of the EU's governance. Economic expansion is on the horizon, driven by regulatory changes and corporate reforms. These changes are not temporary, they are long-term, anchored by a collective desire to build a sustainable, financially secure future for the continent. China's global ascendancy, financial breakthroughs, and diplomatic engagement under Jupiter and Pluto's influence. In the bustling streets of Beijing and the towering financial districts of Shanghai, the winds of change blow fiercely. The trine between Jupiter in Gemini and Pluto in Capricorn encourages China to step forward, not only as a global economic powerhouse, but as a leader in governance reform. Jupiter's influence in Gemini invites China to engage in global dialogue, forging new partnerships and redefining trade relations, while Pluto's transformative energy demands that old governance systems adapt. Visualize China negotiating trade deals with the West while simultaneously implementing governance reforms that ensure its long-term financial growth. The Jupiter-Pluto trine encourages breakthroughs in financial markets and corporate governance, with the potential for innovations in technology, fintech, and global trade. China is poised to capitalize on this moment, using diplomacy and intellectual expansion to cement its place as a leader on the global stage. The Jupiter-Pluto alliance, global financial and governance reforms on the horizon. As we step into October 2024, a cosmic alignment between Jupiter in Gemini and Pluto in Capricorn casts its transformative shadow over the world stage. This trine, a harmonious blend of expansion and deep-rooted change, creates the perfect backdrop for revolutionary shifts in global finance and governance. It's a time of expansion, as the old systems evolve, breaking free of their rigid structures to embrace a future shaped by international cooperation and innovative policies. The trine promises not only reforms, but a profound transformation that has the potential to realign the world order. IMF leads the charge in global financial reforms, a new era of sustainable growth. Picture this, the bustling headquarters of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, where decisions that affect the fate of economies across continents are made. Under the influence of the Jupiter-Pluto trine, the IMF finds itself at the heart of a pivotal moment in global finance. This celestial alignment signals expansion, not just in markets, but in the mindset of economic leaders. Jupiter in Gemini, known for its intellectual curiosity and drive for cooperation, inspires the IMF to spearhead financial reforms that transcend borders. The organization is likely to promote policies focused on sustainable growth, urging nations to work together to stabilize and expand global markets. As developing countries seek to adapt to the rapid shifts in the global economy, the IMF steps in as a guiding force, helping to reshape and strengthen financial systems that were once vulnerable. Imagine the streets of emerging nations, where local economies begin to flourish under newly implemented reforms, supported by the IMF's guiding hand. Farmers, small business owners, and innovators thrive as the ripple effect of these reforms spreads from financial capitals to rural villages. It's a transformative period, one that blends the wisdom of the past with the innovation of the future. The United Nations fosters global governance reforms. Cooperation and diplomacy pave the way forward. Amid the iconic halls of the United Nations in New York, another wave of transformation is stirring. The Jupiter-Pluto trine casts its influence here too, urging global leaders to face the challenge of governance in a world that is rapidly evolving. With Jupiter's diplomatic energy guiding conversations and Pluto's force pushing for deep structural changes, the UN steps forward as a central player in fostering international cooperation and governance reforms. In capitals from Berlin to Buenos Aires, diplomats, scholars, and policymakers gather, their conversations charged with the urgency of solving global conflicts and addressing corporate governance failures. Pluto's transformative energy ensures that these dialogues won't be mere talk. They are the first steps toward actionable reform. International agreements are forged, not just to resolve conflicts, but to instill ethical governance on a global scale. Across the globe, the efforts of the UN ripple outward. Corporate governance structures adapt, economic policies shift, and humanitarian aid becomes more structured and sustainable. Imagine the blue-helmeted peacekeepers on the ground in conflict zones. As behind them, the quiet power of global governance reforms helps prevent future crises. These reforms, driven by the Jupiter-Pluto trine, are designed to foster collaboration and peace, creating a more